Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Royal Sussex Live. Hello, one and all. Happy Saturday to you. September the 3rd. Gosh, where did the summer go, right? That was fast. Okay. But someone told me maybe 25 years ago, they told me this person, 20 years my senior, said, Baron, just wait. Right now, you think time goes by kind of fast. She said, when you get to be my age, it's going to be kind of like the opening of the Star Trek. Yeah, kind of like that. It's like the opening of the Star Trek, where that ship is like whisking by so fast. Uh, you could only imagine at that age that I was. And then today, I am older than she was at the time when she told me that. So, oh man, what do you do, huh? Okay. So I do have a guest today, and I'm chatting with them right now. So this is a first. I have to warn you guys, this is a first for me where I'm trying to connect properly. And that way they can get through and uh well anyway, it's a teachable moment for me and a learning experience for maybe both of us. I'm not sure. But we'll see. We'll see. Okay, so let me say hello to Marcy Foreman. Connie Balmer, Jacuzzi, Berta Sanchez, Rosa Roberts wants to say hello to a few people. We are always glad to help out with that. Let's see. Y. Gordon. Okay. And also to my let me see. How does that work out? Huh. Okay. Well, I hope that works. I hope that works. Okay. Um, I'm working on the connection. I'm working on the connection. If it doesn't work that way, then we'll try it another way. Um, ooh, this is really interesting. I've never done this before. Don't I sound like a prom night date, right? Gee, I've never done this before. Okay. Hello to Susie Q, Kids and Door, Black Queen, Connie Balmer. I said hi. Yes, I did. Of course I did. Berta Sanchez. Well, hi, Lydia Washington, Church Nelly. Where is everybody? It's not even that many people here yet. Lynette Roberts. Let's see. Good evening, Baron and my squatty family. I hope you are all very well. It's 17:35, which is 5:35 p.m. Here in London. Wow, that late already. So hi, hello, and how? Oh, there we go. There we go. We got contact. Mystery guests, we have contact. So this is working out. So a couple more greetings, and then I will get underway. And again, you guys, just bear with us because this is kind of like a first. Well, it is a first to start off like this. So I think we're ready. So anyway, someone reached out to me who wanted to shed a little light on some of the current events that are going on with the Sussexes. Hopefully, we're able to explain a few things. Uh, Sean, hi Sean. Speaking of saying hello to a few people, can we say hello to Will and Kate? Incidentally, Will and Kate lost half the Commonwealth. I'm trying to keep Lizzie's hand on them. She's mad. Sean, thank you so much for the super sticker. But out of respect to my mystery guests, I will definitely demonstrate the loss. And matter of fact, after the presentation, it would probably make more sense. So I am going to partake in that. And by the way, thank you so much for the super sticker and super chat. And thank you so much for watching Royal Sussex. Happy Saturday, Sean. Okay, so without any further ado. Oh man, I'm getting tongue tied. All right, I will admit I'm trying to play it cool, but I'm a little nervous. Let me say hello to, let me put one little caption up that might help with this. Let me see. Which do I choose? Let's start with this one. Okay, we'll start with that one. All right. So, Nazinga reached out to me about the some of the current stories that are floating about. And of course, there is a long history of the empire and then eventually the Commonwealth where it concerns South Africa. So hopefully, we can all learn something today. As you guys know, occasionally I will mention some information that I get about Africa or African people anywhere in this world because it's something that is of great interest to me as an African American and someone who has about 79% DNA from the continent. It is always important to me to focus on the motherland. And so, if you will allow me to introduce, oh, by the way, uh, there you are. Okay. Let me introduce uh, Nazinga. Hello, Nazinga. Happy Saturday to you. Thank you so much for being here. Um, well, this is our first time meeting each other, and I would like to say welcome to Royal Sussex. And also, I have
This is our first time meeting each other, and I would like to
yes,
say
yes.
welcome to Sussex. And also, I have this is our first time meeting each other.
Oh, there's a
Yes,
slight
yes. Welcome.
echo. If you have an earpiece, that may help. But don't worry, we're going to get this together. This is a first for me, so I'm just hoping I'm doing everything correct on my end. Okay, and Nazinga is actually muted right now, so maybe she's working on that. Let's give her a moment to work that out. But let me start off with just a little background about what we're going to discuss. This one is This is the article that was shared from the Washington Post. Now, don't worry, Washington Post is not a Murdoch paper. It is owned by someone who has a lot of my money, Jeff Bezos, and so I'm going to trust them a lot better than I would trust anything Murdoch. Oh, that is so nice of you guys to send out a welcome to Nazinga. Uh, Okay. So, Nazinga, I see you are still present, but I think you're also still working on that. So, I'll give you a minute to do that and I will start off with this. So, land ownership in South Africa remains an explosive issue more than a quarter century after white minority rule ended. A plan by the ruling party to change the constitution to make it easier for the government to seize land without paying for it looks set to unravel because it lacks sufficient support in parliament. While that should reassure banks that the billions of rands they've lent to farmers and real estate owners aren't at risk, exploration still won't be off the table. I'm sorry, expropriation, not expiration, expropriation still would not be off the table. A draft law would permit seizure of land that that's being, should I say, held for speculation or isn't being used, although it could be hard to apply. Connie Balmer, thank you so much for the super sticker. Happy Saturday to you. And thank you for being a member and watching Royal Sussex. So, Nazinga, I think you're ready now. Uh,
Hi,
Hi.
can you hear me?
Yes, as a matter of fact, you sound much better.
Great. Thank you so much for having me on Royal Sussex. I am really looking forward to having this discussion with you.
Great. So, how did I do so far? Was that a good way to start off while you worked on your connection?
You did fantastic. Absolutely
Okay.
fantastic. So I really just wanted to say really, really thank you for having me here. Um, Everything that I'm going to talk about today concerning Meghan and Harry is really from an economic lens. So I just wanted to put that out there. And just before I begin, actually, Baron, if I can, I wanted to give this public service announcement. Um, this is going to be a very big week for Meghan, our princess, husband. So my appeal to everybody in the Sussex squad is please, please, please ignore the island and focus on promoting the positive work that Meghan and Harry are doing. A lot of people don't know about their work because sometimes we get distracted by the royal rota and start fighting with the rota instead of just promoting the work. Because the more people see, like the Invictus Games, the more people see her work with Smart Work. So people get to know the real Meghan and Harry. People get to see their work with Archewell. So that's my little spiel before I begin.
Well, thank you. That seems like a great place to start. And so, with that, I am going to turn it over to you. And um, if there's any questions or anything like that that the squatties have, please take a pad and paper and write them down so you won't forget when we are able to take the questions, and that way you won't get nervous and everything, because sometimes that happens. You think you know what you want to ask, and once the opportunity gets there, and then it you lose it. So you can just hold on to those for now, talk to each other, and then when we take the questions, then throw those in on the comments, and I will highlight them as we go along. And Nzinga, I'll give you the opportunity to pick out the kind of questions that you want to answer, or I might highlight something on my own. Is that okay?
That's fine.
Okay. So, all right, I turn it over to you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. So I think a lot of you have seen like a big influx of efforts by the Royal Rota to discredit Duchess Meghan among Africans. So being an African myself, I picked that up and I began to ask myself the question, why? Because a lot of times we don't really ask why. You know, we see what's happening and sometimes we react to what's happening, but we don't really ask ourselves why. So when I was listening to Archetypes this last week, I hope everybody heard the conversation between Mariah Carey and the Duchess of Sussex. They had a professor on there, I believe her name was Mashinka Hakopian, and she's a scholar of media studies. And it really explained to me why the British racists are putting so much effort in fighting the Duchess. She said something about when people of color acquire power through public visibility and wealth, then they start to tear them down. And we can see this time and time again. You've seen the attacks on our vice president, um, Kamala Harris. You've seen the attacks on many leading women. You saw the attacks on Michelle Obama. So this is not something that is new. But with the British rota, it is very, 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 very just cruel. 100 articles a day on a young mother. So you begin to ask yourself, well, what is the purpose really? Why is all this happening? And I started looking at the purpose of the rota. So you understand that before the Commonwealth, there was the British Empire. So when most of the countries started, you know, asking for their independence, they then came up with this idea of the Commonwealth. And so this gives like British people there is a feeling that they still have the empire, right? And it makes them feel good. But part of what came with the British Empire was this idea of the royals being a hero. And in this particular instance, William is supposed to be the hero. He's supposed to be the influencer of the next generation. And really, in reality, their goal is to just dominate the global narrative um, about what is acceptable, what is not acceptable, what people talk about. This is what they do. They want everybody to kind of drink their Kool-Aid when it comes to inequality. We know, of course, that the Oprah interview brought about something that has been hidden for a long time, something about racism. And after that, we began to see the articles about how people of color were not allowed to work in the royal household. We began to see things being brought about how the royals are free from discrimination laws. So, of course, right now the royals have got a PR problem, basically. So, what they want to do is to go and control the hearts and the minds of African youth. And your question is probably, well, why do they care? Well, there are many reasons why they do. Um, Baron and the Sussex squad, if you can go back to that failed colonial Caribbean tour, basically the people of the Caribbean told William and his partner, Sayonara, we want freedom from the royals. The way that we saw it, right? We were rejoicing. But in Britain, it was seen as it should, right? But for them, they saw that the British rule over the minds of people of African heritage was disintegrating. You remember when they went to Barbados? Sorry, not when they went to Barbados, but Barbados was the first country in what they call the realm to go for independence. That was much publicized, and now we have Mia Motley, who is the ruler, removing the queen. And when William and Karen went on their Caribbean tour, in Belize, if you can recall, they were holding up signs that said, leave our land alone, or whatever they're saying. And this is so crucial because throughout, you will see that land is a very important issue because part of colonization was, of course, taking people's land and properties. That's what colonization was. Um, they went to Jamaica, and everywhere that these two went, people have been rejecting the whole status quo. But something that I want to caution a lot of us is to remember that the monarchy has survived over 1,000 years, right? So it is like a virus. A virus, it mutates from to there. It's never really the same, and that's how um, the royal family is. So what they are now doing is they are now using Africans to discredit Meghan. And why exactly they are doing this, well, we kind of know, but we also kind of believe that it's got to do with the Commonwealth and the Commonwealth being the vestige of the British Empire. We also know that there have been reports, right, that the Duchess is going to be working to empower African youth. And that in itself becomes a problem for, of course, the family. Because if you can juxtapose the image of William and Kate talking to Africans over the fence, the Caribbean children through a fence, right? And then you look at Meghan and Harry in South Africa talking to children, hugging children. You can already get the picture, right? You already know who any sane person is going to be listening to. You already can see and understand why Meghan and Harry are so appealing to African youth. You look at a place like in South Africa, and in South Africa, um, 66% of the youth are unemployed, right? So this is definitely a big issue, and there are many people, of course, who want to solve this problem, right? Because it's a big problem. You can't survive anywhere where 66% of the population are unemployed. So, of course, we know that the rota, right? They don't know
Can I
what the.
ask a question about
Oh,
the
go ahead.
unemployment?
Go ahead.
For that percentage of people that's unemployed, how many of them have, say, a 12th grade level education and even a college education that are still unemployed?
To be honest, I really do not know. Statistics like that are kind of hard to come by, but the president of South Africa, he's the one who published the 66% and said, but it's like just 66% of the youth, not the whole population, but just the youth.
Okay,
Um,
okay.
right. So it's just 66% of the youth who are unemployed. So, of course, the um, the royals, they've heard, we don't know because nobody has confirmed this, right? But they have heard that the Duchess is going to be working in South Africa to help South African youth. We don't know this for a fact. However, they have started to poison the well, right? And one of the so they don't know what the Duchess is planning, but they can see from what the Duchess has done the effect that it has had on the minds and the hearts, of course, of the African youth. If you go back to her time way before she met Harry, she did a watercolor project in Rwanda. And the thing for me that really stuck me, and she was talking about being in a classroom with these young children. She's talking to the young children and she says to the children, draw something. And she starts to ask them, what do you want to do, with your life? And, they begin to dream. And she takes these paintings, goes back to Canada with them, and she actually uses them, sells them, and then fundraises and brings the money back to Rwanda to build more wells. I believe it was like $15,000. For many
So
people,
she didn't use the money to fund a country house somewhere. She actually gave the money back to them.
of course, you know how our Duchess is. This is why
Right.
Harry fell in love with her. She is a philanthropist at heart. She didn't need a royal title, right? She was doing this way before she met Harry. So many people read this and you kind of gloss over the fact that she did it. But when you look at it, you're like, oh my goodness, can you imagine how those children felt when they are being told that you, because of what you did, your pictures helped to raise funds, and now other people can have clean drinking water? It is the idea that Africans can solve their own problems, right? And when they are empowered, they can solve their own problems and become part of the solution. Why that, as an African, to me, is very powerful is because most people who have never really interacted with Africans think that Africans are these helpless people. If you see a lot of the royal tours, right, it's about, oh my gosh, you see the work, it's always, oh, poor Africans. They have genital mutilation or whatever it's called. Oh, their husbands are always beating them up. Oh, poor African, they're hungry. They're always like, that's the narrative, right? It's always poor, poor African. But when you are an African child and you have grown up where everything is about receiving, receiving, and all of a sudden you become part of the solution, it causes you to dream big, right? So these kids are now dreaming of going to school, right? Because you can't go to school without water. Water is so essential. So now they go to school, they become educated, and they are able to actually influence what is happening in their own communities. It is such a powerful force. And it is this power that they know that if the Duchess puts her hands to anything, it will succeed. And so
I'm
I
sorry.
don't. So they don't really want Meghan to work with South African youth. So this is why you
Okay.
see them going to Nelson Mandela's grandson, right? Who doesn't even bother to do his homework, right? He doesn't even bother to say, what exactly did Meghan say? And then he just goes out there, and because he's part of a powerful family, whatever he says goes global. And so there's so many people who never even heard what she said, who are now like, why is she comparing herself to Nelson Mandela? How dare she? Right? And so you had that hashtag that was created by a racist in South Africa, and everything that they're doing is to really poison the well so that South African people are distracted, right, from actually solving their own problems, and they're focusing on things that don't matter, you know, little tabloid tales, because that's what tabloids do. That's really what tabloids do. And Baron, I want to take you back to the Royal South African tour.
Okay.
Uh, I don't know if you remember this, but when the Duchess went on on the South African tour, she did something that you never, ever, ever, ever see royals do, especially when they come to Africa. And what the Duchess did was she visited a number of South African businesses. Like I said, everything that I look at from an economic lens. One of the businesses that she worked with was called Sepo Jeans. And
I remember that one.
you remember that this was a young man, right, who started a denim company. He's a business owner. He's um, employing young South Africans, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And he's really going against the narrative of what young Black South Africans do. So when she bought her jeans for her son, so many orders started coming from around the world. Sales went through the roof. I mean, he got the global recognition. So now you see that people are pulling the plug, right? Like pulling the veil, and to see, oh, so people in South Africa are not just sitting around waiting for William and Kate to bring them little trinkets. No, people actually have businesses. And let me pose a question to you, Baron.
Sure.
Have you ever seen any royal actually come to Africa and promote anything positive about Africa?
No, as far as I know, it is usually about trade. It's about putting the queen's name on some type of forest or building or some program, something that promotes the royal family and not directly promote the people. It's as though they have to include their name on it for it to be real to them. If it does so much to promote the people, or like for instance a charity, Harry works with charities as opposed to just putting his name on something or doing something in the queen's name. That's what I see the difference is. But if there is such a thing where any other member of the royal family or anyone working on behalf of the queen has done something uh near to what the Sussexes are doing, I'm not aware of it. It usually entails making sure that there is a plaque, a physical mental cue to people to say that the queen cares or the queen was involved. It usually is something like that that's left behind, more so than what they've actually done to help people uplift themselves. That's the image that I get.
Absolutely. And of course, Harry is excluded because we know Harry, he has done a lot of work in Africa. Even if you look at the work he's done with the Hello Trust, I don't know if you remember when they went to South Africa and they showcased what Princess Diana, because Princess Diana campaigned to remove landmines from Angola. Today, that land actually has schools. It's a real community where people are living and raising their children. People have started businesses. It's a real success story. You cannot name.
Actually, I'm sorry, I did share that before. it's actually a high street, and they showed the before and after of Princess Diana walking down this path that had big holes in it from the landmines, and now it is actually like a high street or a shopping district, and a place where it's a place for the community, whereas before it was just this overgrown area that kids should not go and play in that. I actually shared that before, but I'm sorry for interrupting you, but I have seen it, and I will make sure that I share that with you all later, probably today. But I'm sorry, go on.
No, thank you so much for interjecting, because when you interject, you are corroborating what I'm saying. So you can see that besides Princess Diana and her only son, Harry, and of course his wife, Meghan, royals are not in the business of empowering Africans. I'm sorry to say, for all those Africans who love them, you cannot show me any royal who has ever empowered Africans except for the three I mentioned. So, just as we continue talking about that trip to South Africa, which for me as an African, I was very, very excited about, um, she also, or rather, Meghan and Harry, for the first time, we began to see royals that were actually interacting with Africans, where Africans were not in a state of perpetual help or perpetual need. We saw Africans as normal people, as business owners who are ready to do commerce. This is a very, very threatening idea to the royal rota, because it goes
Hmm.
against that savior complex. William is supposed to be the savior of the Commonwealth, but of course we reject those silly notions. When Meghan and Harry were also in South Africa, they met with Chef Mish, and I think you put his picture out there. They met with Blossom Care, and these were young women who were making their own sanitary pads. It was just really just a sustainable business. You saw these people who were really just becoming financially independent, and I believe that the Duchess talked about that, which got me very excited, because we began to see that a lot of the Africans were really trying their best, to empower their own communities. But the idea of empowering local communities is a very radical idea to the establishment. Um, right now in South Africa, there is a lot of murmuring. I know it's not really reported on the news, but like I mentioned before, 66% of the youth are unemployed. And there aren't really any big plans that I know of to upskill them. Inequality is a very big issue. And the elephant in the room is, where does the inequality come from? And then, of
I'm
course,
sorry. Can you use that word again? Was it? Did you say upskill?
upskill. Um,
Wow, I've never heard that before, but I love that. I love that upskill.
yes,
Okay, sorry about that. I just
no,
wanted to make sure I heard that right. Upskill. Thank
up,
you.
no problem. So when people start to ask questions, right? And this is what, of course, the rota does not want people to do, hence poisoning the well. People start to ask, who really financed colonialism, right? Because a lot of the problems that exist in Africa today are because of the colonizer. People begin to ask the question, who is really benefiting? And of course, um, we love Nelson Mandela. He was a wonderful man. However, 30 years, almost 30 years since South Africa has been independent, 72% of the land is still owned by 9% of the population. And these are the discussions that South Africans are having. Um, do you know who doesn't want people to start having these conversations? I think you can take a guess. Um, right now, uh, there is, of course, a whole movement. We don't know exactly why exactly, but we do know that The royal rota doesn't do anything for no reason. So we already know that they are coming hard and fast. If you sometimes glance at some of the headlines, you can see all these Africans you've never ever heard of. They have never done anything in their communities. They have zero impact, just criticizing Meghan. So I just want people to just pay attention to that, and particularly to a lot of Africans, right? Doctors, leaders, or whoever should really be very, very careful of just jumping on the wagon, because we know, for those of us who have been studying the rota and how they work, they promote somebody, and then, of course, the receipts come out, and then they just dump that person, and then that person loses all their credibility. But I mean, it's a shame. I mean, it's a pity, but people need to do their homework before they just support the royal rota. But
Can I interrupt you?
go
You
ahead.
see this image that's on the screen? Now that is what we just I was over here really busy trying to pull this out, but I knew I had it. So that is the famous walk that Princess Diana took, where she walked this area pitted with all of those scars from the landmine. And this is what it looks like today. Oh, sorry. Oh, there we go. Look, there it is. That's that same area today. It has actually become a place where the community can actually work. They can shop there, and some people live in that area. So I remember I saved this a long time ago, and I don't even know why, but I think I was doing something with Diana, and you could see the before, and that's the after. That is what has become of this area that was so dangerous that you had so many kids that lost their limbs. And then here is Harry um, doing the same work of his mother with the Halo Trust. And that's the very same occasion. That is Harry visiting one of the young lady on the left with Diana. That's her, all grown up. And of course, there's the Union Jack in the back, so we can make sure we connect this to the crown and the queen. But this was before he stepped back from official duty. So anyway, just wanted to share those with you.
So, Baron, can you go back to the street, the Now Street picture?
Yes, yes, there you are.
All right. So, I think this is the perfect place for me to stop and just have this image of what the power of the work, right, that Princess Diana did, that Harry and Meghan are continuing. To a lot of people who look at this street, they just see an ordinary street, but it
Mm-hmm.
represents the possibilities. What can happen when people are truly determined to bring about change so that people can lead better lives. And this is the reason, right? Total community impact that transforms life is the reason the rota. It's Meghan and Harry so hard. They do not want to see transformation, particularly in African spaces. So
Mm-hmm.
I am totally open to questions. And I think for today, Baron, we'll stop here.
Okay. Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much. As Nzinga just said, she's going to open it up to your questions. So if you have those questions ready, start posting them and I will highlight as I go along. And Nzinga, if you see anything that I miss, just say that person's name and then I'll look for their question to highlight. So it may take a couple seconds for them to catch up in chat, but we're ready when you are. But yeah, it's so strange because I keep thousands of photos, and even before Royal Sussex, I just had this habit of things that interested me that I wanted to go back and examine. I would make sure that I saved it just out of my own interest because like just this morning, I was looking at something about Ghana and the gold, well, the black gold rush. It was from German television about finding gold off the shore of Ghana. It's like 2 hours long, so I got to go back to that. And my big thing is I'm always worried I'll forget to go back to it, but I'm very interested in that. So, Black Queen, you had a comment. Meghan is in the belly of the vile beast. We have to keep praying for her and Harry. We know good will overcome evil in this long run. Amen to that. Okay, I'm scrolling down. If you guys what? Oh, is this a? Okay, it's just all right. Kids Indoor said, Nazinga, thank you for speaking and giving us so much rich information. I second that absolutely. Okay, there's a question. Uh, what areas you like to see the Sussexes make an impact on among young people in South Africa? I'm sorry. All right, are you there?
That is a question for me.
Yes.
Hi, Baron. Can you hear me?
Oh, yes, I can. Yes, I can. Can you hear me? Uh-oh. Let me see. I'm not muted. But the question is on the screen if you are looking right now. Let me make sure that I did not mute you. No, I did not. Okay, yes, I can
Okay.
still hear you.
Okay, great. So when it comes to the Sussexes, I am extremely like I have to watch my words. I want what they want to do, right? I don't want to prescribe for them what I believe that they should do. But what I just want them to do is to do whatever work. I know they are probably working on whatever they are working on, but I just want them to do it and to do it well. But I'm more interested in the impact of whatever work they do because we know from their work history that they work to empower people. So we can already see, and I brought up the idea of, not the idea, but the example of Megan in Rwanda with the young children where she was building the wells. So stuff like that, whatever causes people to dream bigger is what I want for them to do in Africa. To have people become part of the solution. I love that picture. Thank
Hmm.
you, Baron. And just to have Africans as part of the solution to their own problems and to build their own communities and become part of the building of those communities. What
R.
lovely
Carter, thank
pictures.
you so much for your question. Okay, so Judy Rigo says it's only 9% of the population you said own land. So that I guess that is a question and a comment at the same time.
Right. And all the 9% are only the friends of the royals and the royals themselves.
And that's in South Africa?
In South Africa, a majority
Really?
black country, absolutely. Yes.
Wow. And I had mentioned that well at the time when they were criticizing Harry for giving the speech the tabloids started trying to, bring the criticism and going to Nelson Mandela's grandson for that one too, I believe. Um I mentioned that if it wasn't for that speech, with as much stuff as I have already learned about that era, if it wasn't for that speech, I would have never known about the shop employees in Ireland. And I just that's something that I hope I saved that. But it was someone in Ireland who said that the oppression that they as Irish people received from the British was very consistent with that of the South Africans, which is why so many of them actually identified better with South Africa than they ever did with the apartheid government because they know that playbook. they know that divide and conquer mentality from the British government. And so that some of them actually had their lives ruined fighting to end apartheid. That was something I had never learned about at that time. I was very young, so I knew that there was this movement. I was aware of American companies divesting, and that started with employees of companies that said, wait a minute, you know. And so if it wasn't for Harry's speech, there's so much that I learned recently about that era that I would have never known. I probably wouldn't have had any reason to even take a second look at any of that stuff. But because he was asked by Mandela's family, by the widow, and I think it was his granddaughter, to give that speech, or was it his daughter? Um, and so that's what made me interested. So when they ask the Sussexes, will you do this or can you do that? It does so much more than if they may have asked, let's say, I don't know, Prince Charles, even though that wouldn't be likely to happen. But it does so much more because, as I keep saying, the Sussexes are the most influential couple in the world. So that is the vehicle you want to use to get those messages out there. And I think that right now there's just no substitute for what they can bring to the table for a lot of these not for profits organizations and such. So they know what they're doing. The Sussexes have a certain way that they want to do things, and that they want to, as you say, empower people. They want to bring the attention to them instead of leaving some placard or something like that behind just to say, oh yeah, we were there on that day. I like that model so much better. Okay, let me go to uh, Cookies and Cream says it's a shame how people of color are jumping on the hate bandwagon to attack Meghan. The racists on Royals have more than shown that they don't care about black people. Thank you for your comment, Cookies and Cream. Nzinga, is there anything you wanted to add to that?
I totally agree with Cookies and Cream. And when you mentioned the speech that Harry gave at the Mandela, that actually made a connection with me because it's something that I had forgot as I was preparing for this. That just the imagery of Harry at the UN at a Mandela event shook the royals because it indicated to them that Harry is seen, right, by the Mandela family. I mean, the Mandela family is an iconic family, but
Mm-hmm.
they valued his being there to give that speech. And so, of course, in true royal fashion, they have to go and try and poison everybody who works with Harry. This is their mode of operation.
Mm-hmm.
And going back to what Cookies and Cream said about how much of a shame it is, a lot of Africans, I'm so sorry to say, me being an African, I believe I can say it, um, were educated, like those in Commonwealth countries for sure, with a very colonial
Mm-hmm.
mindset. So the colonial mindset is very big. So what colonial education does is to not really teach people to think critically. So you have people who just don't even ask questions because, in colonialism, you ask questions, some bad things happen to you. So thank you for bringing that up. So you see this lady, um, she's obviously a racist. Most people in
Mm-hmm.
South Africa don't support racism, but because people are not thinking critically, right? People are not woke. Like, I mean, I know these days people like to say, oh, don't be woke or being woke is a bad thing. I'm like, on what planet is being woke a bad thing? You should always be woke because you are lit. Being woke is
Uh-huh.
lit, right? You are looking at things and you just don't take them at face value. When that unfortunate hashtag from South Africa was trending, a lot of the Africans never said who started it. Why is it being said? People were just thinking to themselves, oh, she is saying something bad. And a mother sharing a story about a fire breaking out, when her child is supposed to be sleeping, and then people say you're giving South Africa a bad name. South Africa is not exactly, I mean, let me not say anymore, but a lot of people jumped on that bandwagon because they have been trained that, you know, with that colonial mindset, everything royal is good and everything African is bad, unfortunately.
Well, and when that did happen, it should be noted, and of course, I made sure that I explained it as clearly as I could, that this compound was British territory. Like any diplomatic mission, that land is considered foreign territory. So it was British that brought them there, the British government. It was the British government who established what was supposed to be safe spaces or safe quarters for them on property that is owned by the British. And because of diplomatic agreements, that technically is considered Britain in South Africa. And so it was nothing at all to do with South Africans. Of course, that's so long and convoluted. Who pays attention to that explanation? But that is the truth. It had nothing to do with South Africans. And as for whether or not there was any danger, a 4 month old with the lungs developing of a 4 month old should not be exposed to anything toxic, including plastic melting from a space heater. And that's just the simple truth. It could have happened anywhere. The Queen uses space heaters, it could have happened anywhere. But it just so happens while they were there and at a very vulnerable moment while they were away from home, it happened. And this is the same tabloids that were making a big stink about the fact that Range Rover sent armored vehicles for them to South Africa as a way to promote their armored vehicles for anybody anywhere in the world. And also, it is the usual mode of transportation for the royals, whether they are at home or abroad. So, why not make it available to them at no cost to the British government? But that wasn't enough. The tabloids wanted to make it appear as though the Sussexes somehow were trying to take advantage of the situation and cost the taxpayers money by insisting, and they had nothing to do with this decision, but that they insisted upon having these armored vehicles. And on that very same trip, do you remember Harry went someplace in what I would say was just a very simple prop plane, not a private jet, but a propeller driven prop plane to go and visit some territory. That was that day he spent away from Meghan. And, for all of the safety precautions that they had gone through, he was still not so grand that when he was told, this is where you are going, or where he wanted to go, however, it happened, he went. He didn't think about his own safety and, oh, is this plane okay? And so the tabloids kept feeding this narrative that the Sussexes are so demanding. And this was before they left. This was all along with whatever Meghan wants, Meghan gets mentality, questions that they would have never asked of Harry's involvement on any of these tours before he was married. It was only after he was married that then suddenly he was lumped into this them and they, and that he's so demanding and he's only doing this for Meghan and so on and so forth. So that was one of the things that stood out for me on that tour, was that narrative about the Range Rovers.
Oh gosh, I certainly did not even remember that. But There's nothing that Meghan and Harry could ever do that wouldn't warrant some sort of backlash. The royal robe
Mm-hmm.
exists to uplift um, William and that other one. I can't even remember her name, but that's what they do. And because when we understand that, we know that there is nothing that we can ever say to them, right? And that's why for archetypes, archetypes is so important that, we spread the word, we get people to listen to archetypes because it is going counter to the narrative, that the royals, the taxpayer funded royals want us to believe.
Well, there is a comment on the screen there from Bellissima. Petal mentioned the great land grab in Africa in one of her podcasts. She was very suspicious of the so called Queen's Canopy claim for environmental reasons. Ahem. And Nzinga, I don't know if you watch Facts in 2 Cents, but I have dubbed Petal as the prosecutor when I really don't want to get my blood pressure up about something. I usually hope that Petal is going to give them the what for. I mean, because she just mops the floor with so much of these lies and hypocrisy. It's like she puts them on the end of a stick and just starts sliding them back and forth and wiping around the bottom of the toilet and under the refrigerator. I'm like, get them, Petal, get them. So that is one of my pleasures in life is when Petal prosecutes these things, and she did mention her suspicions about the Queen Canopy. I do recall that. Thank you so much, Bellissima.
That is really remarkable because why I'm so happy that many people are starting to pay attention and ask the right questions. And because Petal is paying attention, right? She's staying woke,
Uh
she
huh.
can see what's going on and begin to question a lot of things because a lot of us, unfortunately, are not really questioning things. And land is so central, in every single society. Land is so central. Understanding that land is central in every society, we have to pay attention, particularly to things that affect us economically. We have to absolutely pay attention because part of the reason why Meghan and Harry are being just receive so much hate is because they represent possibilities. And there are people who are working overtime to make sure that you and I, just believe that God put William to be our ruler and that is just the way it is and we shouldn't aspire to anything. Those are some, ideas that they would rather want us to believe. But of course, we believe in equality. We believe that we have the right to self determination. We believe in self actualization and that we are the captains of our own lives. And these are ideas that you and I have heard that are pretty normal, but there are many people who work overtime to make sure that we do not become everything that we possibly could. And I totally
Audrey,
agree. We
oh, I'm
should pray
sorry.
for the Sussexes. We really
Yes.
should because there's a lot of opposition coming for them.
Well, thank you so much for the super chat, Audrey Teschner, and thank you for watching Royal Sussex. Okay, let me get back over here. Um, yeah, you know what? I last night I just kind of threw some slides together because once you told me what the topic was, I'm just like, okay, let me I've kind of figured we'd be a bit in tune with each other, so I just put some things together that I thought would be useful. And I got like something to cover everything we talk about. It's just so hard to get to it when you're live on air. I'm kind of like that episode of I Love Lucy where they're in the chocolate factory. That's what goes on during the live stream. Sometimes I get a little quiet or something like that, but that's because I'm looking for this or looking for that. And some days I could spend like the entire day like labeling new things that I brought in or relabeling so I can find them when I need them. So, but it is helpful, and it's I think that for all the content creators, and even if you're not a content creator, keeping these receipts can help tell the story when the time comes. And so I'm obliged to do it, and I think anybody else who has, like, for instance, this one right here. Another reason to love Meghan. Meghan Markle is a true humanitarian, claims charity she worked with in Rwanda and India. Now, this, of course, was in what, November 2017, when it was announced that there was an engagement. This was the portrayal of the Duchess of Sussex before everything with KP and all that kind of stuff. That is that is how I learned about her. I didn't know anything about Meghan, and if you don't know the story, I purchased a ticket to take a European 2 month trip, right? And then the next day, I hear something about Prince Harry is engaged. And I'm just like, wow. Well, if I'm there, I'll probably go and hang out at the wedding. Well, the few days later, there was, well, I think however long it was, they had gave an actual date. I'm like, yes, I'll be there. And so in between that November and the wedding day, I went through a what is it, like 6 month, 7 month course of everything Meghan. And so by the time the wedding day came, I was like so in love with the Duchess, or the future newly minted Duchess of Sussex, that I could just rattle off, oh, she did this, she did that. And I that's how my connection started. And then when by the time they were in Frogmore, and it was just one bad story after the next, my spirit began to sink and sink and sink. And I started feeling that despair. And I didn't have many people who wanted to hear me talk about the Sussexes. They're like, who? Well, why do you care? And then, of course, at that time, I was looking at various things on YouTube. But I guess the rock for most of us was Tina and Michelle on the Sussex Squad podcast. And then eventually, like, it took me a whole year before I could even get Royal Sussex started. But once I did commit to it, then I've just been in ever since. And so that's how I got here. And along the way, a few other channels have come along. So now we have more of spaces daily that we can go to, not just on YouTube, but on the Twitter with the chats on the Twitter. And of course, I think we all started off with a Facebook community here or somewhere, and of course Instagram. But that is how I got here. Iris Demonia has a super chat. God have his hand on and over the Sussexes. We continue to make everything is possible for them. I'm sorry, he will continue to make everything possible for them. Thank you so much, Iris Demonia, for the super chat. And thank you for being a member and watching Royal Sussex. Okay. Um,
Baron, it is so
uh-huh.
encouraging when people are appreciating your work and everything that you do. There's so many of us who really appreciate all the content creators who are out there just fighting for the Sussexes. It is certainly
Mm-hmm.
a labor of love, and we appreciate you very much. And thank you so much for everybody appreciating um, Baron's work, because it is a lot of work. Baron doesn't get paid to do this, but he does it because we know why it is so important for us to support the Sussexes. I remember during the Oprah interview, and Harry said that they had so many dark days. But when they would hear reports of how there was a community of people who were not drinking the royal taxpayer funded royals Kool-Aid, who were there, who were believing that the Sussexes were really under um, threat from the royals, and that I mean, there was a real smear campaign against them. This group, he said it encouraged him so much, and it gave him, and his wife the faith that they could actually leave and that there would be support. It was so, so, so. I mean, like for me, I always get very happy when I go to all the different channels and I hear people supporting the Sussexes. It is really, really great because so many times, KP has tried, to create fake drama online. They have tried to understand who the Sussex squad is because they can't believe, there are people who actually think for themselves and actually support the Sussexes. So thank you so much, everybody who does this. We know that it takes a lot, even when you're talking to like your family members and you're trying to explain to them, and they're like, "Oh, that woman is trouble. Look what she did to her family." And you're like, "Do you even understand
Mm-hmm.
what's going on?" But there are a lot of people who don't understand. But everybody who is here, you understand why it's so important that we continue to really uplift Meghan and Harry and their two beautiful children, and of course the Queen, Gloria, which is such a wonderful parent, such a wonderful parent. Oh, so wonderful. She is the epitome really of grace, and she has had the Sussexes back, dignity and pride. She has never uttered a single word. You know how hard that is, but she supports her children and her grandchildren, and we love her so much. And thank you for everybody who supports them because she sees what we do and she knows, of course, that Meghan has family and we are part of that family. So thank you so much.
Yes, she's our queen of everything. Um, I One night I was working on something and I was trying to find a non paparazzi picture of Doria, and I came across what was actually a video of her in her SUV, and the paparazzis, I think maybe it was one, two, or something like that, and they walked up to her window, and that was the first time I had heard her voice. And I actually started weeping at that point because I felt so vulnerable for her in that moment, and she just had this like surprised look on her face that they're like, and she was polite to roll down the window and speak to them, and she let them know I don't have any comment. But that just destroyed me. That absolutely destroyed me. I don't think I ever looked at it again because it bothered me just that much how small and frail she looked in that big SUV with these hungry paparazzi people trying to get anything, trying to solicit a negative response or anything that they could share. I mean, they weren't so pushy, but you know that that's what they hope for. And all I could think is if that was my mother in that situation, I would be absolutely furious. I would be livid if that was my mother put in a situation like that. And so, what it must have felt like for Harry all those years being too small to defend his mother against those things that surrounded her, um, up until the point that she died. It's got to be awful. So yeah, that moment for me with Doria was probably my lowest. But otherwise, I do appreciate that she is very quiet and dignified in her um, presence in that family, and not the stage mother or something like that. That she's not doing interviews or anything like that. I'm glad for that. Thank you, Elaine Parker, for the super sticker and watching Royal Sussex.
And just
Okay.
to something
Oh,
about
I'm sorry.
Doria.
I'm scrolling through. and I don't know if there was anything that you saw. I'm looking at you know what, I'm just gonna go all the way down to the very last and work my way back. But I'm sorry, go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
When you look at Doria, a lot of mothers, they want to be in the limelight because they haven't raised their children well. But you look at Doria, she raised her daughter. She knows that her daughter is an independent woman, and she defends her in the way that a parent should defend a child. Doria does her very best to not create waves for her daughter, and we appreciate that because we need Doria, and she is, right, the person who defends her at home in those quiet times. And what she's just so powerful to me, just so powerful to me. The emotional intelligence that she has, you know, she's so poised, so graceful, defends her daughter in private as she should. And that level of emotional intelligence, it's just up there. She's not going around looking for tabloids and sources. No, she's at home supporting her daughter. A lot, I mean, that takes a lot of grace and dignity to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. Now, this I don't know what. Let me see. This what did you send me that, or did I get that from one of the articles? I,
I think I must have sent that to you.
okay. Yeah, and I wasn't sure if you wanted. Well, it doesn't matter now. I put it up there, but I wasn't sure if you wanted me to share that. So I just I made a screenshot of it. Well, I put it there. So if there was any of that you wanted to explain or anything, weapons of mass distraction, getting Africans in plantation fights to distract from addressing racism in the palace or poverty. Was that a typo? By the colonizers and keep Africans under subjugation. Nothing scares British racists like empowered people of color, particularly those of African heritage, acquiring power, including public visibility and wealth.
Exactly. I don't know, Baron, if you are familiar with the history of plantation fights.
Now, do you mean like almost like a cockfight where they would put the largest male against the other largest male, or
Correct.
just plain old conspiring to weed out the I guess the troublemakers kind of fights?
Right. So it was really for their amusement. So colonizers, part of what they used to do, excuse me, was to and they still really employ this tactic a lot, where they see a black person, right? And they're fighting the Duchess because of her African heritage and because she married the prince. So they're going to go and find somebody who is like another African, right? So let's use Nelson Mandela's grandson, right? And so they love to watch it when they see African people just attacking another African person. That is what they do to distract everybody from talking about racism in the palace. Because we had the issue of the fire. That is very serious. For all of us who know, we already know that something was very suspicious about that fire. So what do? They get the grandson to fight Meghan. Why are they?
Oh yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. I don't know if one of our uh um oh, let's see. Oh, I'm so sorry. I just why did I moderators, Mo Shannon. She called me last night and she wanted an explanation about yesterday's show. And if any of you squatties that's on today watched yesterday, and I broke out singing from the Lion King, she said it kind of. She said she was in mid sip of her beverage when that happened, and I kind of hijacked the song from Lion King and made a version to. I'm not going to do it now, by the way, to suit the grandson and what he's been doing with Meghan, and not just him, but the amnesia that suddenly happens, or whatever, from the cast of The Lion King, all of that stuff. The tabloids are so clever at this ability to twist words, and they do it just like an American presidential election. The Republicans every day have the same talking points, and it goes across all the media, and it goes across all of the Republican politicians. And I've noticed that from the tabloids, they also have used those same talking points, and all at once they say the same thing. She compared herself to Nelson Mandela, but they omit the part about the mention of the lion. Well, her speaking of the opening of the Lion King, and then the next day, then they say, after we made a big fuss about it, then they bring out the guy from the Lion King, and then he doesn't recognize, doesn't remember. Oh, she got it wrong. She misunderstood. And so that was day two of it. And it was all orchestrated where they made sure that they were all saying the same thing on the morning shows, on the social media, in the tabloids, all of it. And this is the type of stuff that is used when a politician is running for office, which is why I always say that Meghan is the most vetted person in the world, in that she has been examined every which way you possibly can. What she said, what she's done, where she went to school, all of that stuff. The last woman that was treated like that was when Hillary Clinton ran for president. So this gives Meghan that same type of global influence that a woman running for president of the United States would have in terms of her image around the world, which is why she is so powerful. As much as they try to use that to tear her down, they are only strengthening her, because now that she has the archetypes, and now that she has done a magazine interview, she's speaking in her own voice. And even though they can try to filter it and twist the words as much as they would like, at some point, what she is saying is going to resonate with people who already support her, and in particular, the young people who don't use the filter of the Daily Fail or the Telegraph and the Mirror and all those papers. They don't use that filter. If anything, they avoid it. So they still have a problem where the Sussexes are concerned. They may catch the attention of the pensioners and such, but the young people that they are trying to push Kate and William on, they're not accepting that. They don't want any parts of them. That is going to be a serious problem for them. Okay.
But Baron, just never ever underestimate them. They are like a virus and they
Uh
keep
huh.
mutating.
Mm-hmm.
They keep mutating. That's why we have to be very, very, very vigilant.
I agree. Marilyn Matthews says, Baron, there are enough supporters to drive back the derangers. We just need to organize worldwide. Something as simple as a hashtag shared from coast to coast would be very powerful. Well, and of course, we can all do something very simple: rewatch the archetypes, and to make sure that it stays in a very high profile position. Not just the new episode that's coming out, but the last two episodes. We can do that this weekend. Rewatch it. Just rewatch it. Put it on. Do your dishes. Cook your meals, and or re-listen to it again, and that will be helpful amongst other things. And of course, support the various platforms on all the mediums: YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. You can do that as well, is to support these platforms. But as usual, I say make sure that you are protecting your own mental health, because this does have the ability to wear us down sometime. And I've had my good days and bad days on Royal Sussex. And usually, when I'm having a bad day, I kind of come out a little scrappy. But all in all, it gives you a roller coaster of emotions. So we just have to make sure that we're taking care of ourselves. Okay. Any more questions, you guys? I'm looking through. Cynthia Ashton says the British tabloid has a type of serpentile behavior, just like how a serpent never crawls in a straight line. So the tabloid's words are always twisted. They go around making hissing sounds. I'm Cynthia Ashton. That is brilliant. I love that analogy. That is brilliant. Thank you for that. Okay. Wow. Oh, we got over 1,000 people. No wonder the chat's going so fast. Well, I mean, I did share that yesterday. I mean, I it well, again, we don't know for sure, but let me see here. Somebody wants to review that he's had a very dodgy past, and so yeah, I don't know if any of that speaks of his character or has anything to do with his connection to the tabloids, but I couldn't say that it doesn't have anything to do with his character and his connection to the tabloids. So I'm sure he has many facets to his personality, but right now he's being a major headache, because, like so many people that the tabloids depend upon, they know that he's a go to person anytime there needs to be any type of disagreement, or I'm sorry, not disagreement, but uh, um, what do you call it? If they want to challenge anything that has to do with the Sussexes, they can always pull him and other people out to help them. Um, or help them make their case. So, is there anything you want to share about that, Nazinga, or are we good with that?
No, I'm good. I just hope, um, how do I put it? I would rather that the grandson actually focus on something that is like that he can use his position and his influence for something constructive. I mean, the
Mm-hmm.
country has 66% unemployed youth. What is he doing about it? So I would hope, right, that he can level up and do something to actually help his community, as opposed to just being a spokesperson for the tabloids. So I hope
Oh,
he will.
I you know what? I saved this. So you've already done all these, and I didn't even put them up as we were going along. I forgot I had it. See, I was ready. I just didn't put it up there. But yeah, we covered all that. Good on you. We covered all of that.
So go
Huh.
back to the other slide.
Okay.
The one thing that we actually didn't cover was race and the Commonwealth.
Okay.
So I don't know if you remember, there was a time when Baroness Scotland, I believe that's her name, and she's like the head of the Commonwealth or whatever, Secretary General, something like that.
And
And
she's
she,
always at the Westminster events and stuff, right?
yes,
And
yes,
she was
yes.
accused of misappropriating public funding to remodel her office or her residence or something.
I don't I don't really like remember that. I didn't follow that part.
Okay.
But what I do remember is that Boris Johnson really hated her. I don't know why.
Ah.
And he wanted to remove her from the position. But just after and everything that happened before the Oceania tour,
Mm-hmm.
um, she was being asked about the impact, and she said, everywhere I go throughout the Commonwealth, people just say, "Oh, we have somebody who looks like us." They were very, very excited. And everything she would always say is how the Commonwealth youth look up to Meghan. They see Meghan as a role model. The Commonwealth youth are excited because you have to remember that most of the Commonwealth are people who look like Meghan, right?
Right.
So people were very, very excited about Meghan coming into the family. And Meghan, of course, became the rock star because she's a woman of substance. You know, she's not just a pretty face, she's absolutely gorgeous. She has this handsome husband, two beautiful children, but she's a woman of substance, right? She's not, what did she say? I would rather be a woman who works. Yeah,
Oh, yeah, I would rather be a woman who works than a woman who lunches, something to that effect. She didn't
right.
want to just be known as a lady that lunch.
Yeah, but a woman who works because she can
Right.
see what's happening, right? She talks about how her mother brought her up. Like for those of us who used to read the Tick, we remember she would talk about Thanksgiving with her mom, Doria, and how they would go to homeless shelters at Thanksgiving. I mean,
Hmm.
most people at Thanksgiving are just thinking about feeding their bellies. But she and her mom would take her to Skid Row. She would go and feed the homeless. So she was always a woman who, even on the TIG, she said, I want to use my voice for something bigger. I may just be an actress, but I want to use my voice for something constructive. Those are her words. So a lot of young people in the Commonwealth, of course, were paying attention. She's a role model. She's somebody a lot of us aspired, you know, we're inspired by her. We find her work causes us to aspire to better things. So the reason that I brought that up was a lot of people have been so excited in the Commonwealth about the possibilities that she was going to be able to do. And of course, the Royal Rota, Prince William, they messed that all up. But there's so much hope because now she's no longer taxpayer funded, and now she can really do the work that matters, the work of really empowering people, of really inspiring young people. And
I
that is
want to
very,
share
very
this
powerful.
because I think I want to see if this is the person that you're speaking of. I'm not gonna play the video. I'm just gonna skip to her so that we all know who you're speaking about. I'm pretty. Oh, right there in the pink, right? This lady. Is that correct? Is that Baroness for the Commonwealth?
Correct. That is her.
Okay. Okay, I thought I knew who you were speaking of. Yeah, I know she that she and well, as a matter of fact, why don't we examine the body language with Boris Johnson, shall we? Uh-huh. Okay. All right. All right. Sorry, you guys. I know this was like a very touching, endearing video, but I'm not going to show the whole thing. I just wanted to verify that I had the right person. Okay. So, oh, let's see. Someone says here Scotland is still the Secretary General. She was challenged by a Jamaican, but the Commonwealth chose Scotland to continue for a few more years. Very British. Okay. Thank you for that update. Pam Porter says, are they really going to try another black country after the Caribbean debacle? They will never have the same impact or affection of Harry and Meghan. Well, that goes without saying. Let me see.
So,
Because Queenie
can I
didn't.
can I just comment on what she said?
Sure.
They are definitely going to go and try to go to another black country. They are. They need, because we know, right, that most of the Commonwealth is made up of people of African heritage. That's who
Yes.
Commonwealth. So all the attacks right now that you see coming from them is because they are preparing for the tour back to another black country. So they are trying to get their little flunkies. That's what they do. That is exactly what they do. So do not be surprised if they go to another Commonwealth country and they try to get people. It's like what we are seeing them do right now, where Charles is guest editing a black newspaper talking about we have the same values, but
Oh no, because according to Dan Wooten, celebrities guessed that thing. He was very determined to make sure that we all know that royals don't guess that. It's celebrity that. You know how excited he gets. Well, Dan Wooten say that that's not the case. So I know what I see, but I gotta listen to Dan Wooten because he knows what the truth is, and the truth bends in his direction at will. So they say Charles is guest editing, but according to Dan Wooten, that's not the case because royals don't do that. But like I say, the rules always change when a person of color is involved. All of a sudden, it's, oh no, we don't do that. That's what they said about the Megan with the Vogue, right? So that's Dan Wooten's words. That does not happen with the Royals, although we all see it. We all see it, but they say that don't happen. So I just want to make sure I clear that up because Dan Wooten say it don't happen, and whatever Dan Wooten say is goes. So that's it. That's all I want to say about that.
and I'm glad you brought up Vogue, the best-selling, which was the Forces for Change,
Uh
best-selling
huh.
of British Vogue in the 103-year history, sold in less than 10 days. Huge
Uh
success.
huh.
Huge success. No other royal has been able to top that.
Yeah, and let me point out too that this happened at a time when magazines, like physical magazine sales, is all but non-existent, and yet it was the biggest selling issue they ever had. So just wanted to make sure we pointed that out. Educator two, thank you so much for the super sticker and for watching Royal Sussex. So I have a little chart that I put up there. Now, of course, it may be a bit skewed because it's YouGov.com and we don't necessarily trust them, but what ethnic minority Britons think of the royal family. And so what you can see there is, do you consider the royal family to be racist? And most ethnic minorities, and of course, I don't think that means necessarily people of African descent, 43% says yes. Was the royal family treatment of Harry and Meghan fair? And only 24% of ethnic minorities says yes. Should the monarchy continue to rule in Britain, or should an elected head of state replace it? And I would say most people say yes or don't know, and only 40% says no. And that is, of course, supposedly the responses of ethnic minorities. I wonder if that includes Irish and Scottish. Huh. Okay. You know how they play with that, like hiring in the British royal family household. if when they say ethnic minority, that could mean a whole lot of things different from what it would mean in other countries. And then lastly, is your opinion of the Queen positive or negative? And 67% says, yes, I think that 90-some-year-old lady is a positive person. Well, no surprise with that. I actually believe that that's probably true, that most of them consider her positive because she don't do nothing, say nothing, or touch nothing. It's kind of hard to, it's almost, and I don't mean to be disrespectful, but it's kind of like being angry at a dead person. They can never hurt you again. So essentially, she doesn't have much of a profile these days. And so it would be difficult to be angry with her because you could always dismiss it as age related, why she was not able to defend her granddaughter in law or her great grandchildren, and et cetera, and so on. So you could always find something good to say about her because she doesn't have much of a presence these days.
Well, Baron,
Okay.
the rest of us can say that recollections may vary.
Ah, I love that. That is how you can tell a squatty, is when you hear something like that. That is like the mother of all comebacks. Recollections may vary. Touche, and thank you so much for that. Let's see. I wanted to um oh man, I wanted to share a short video that I made. Now I can't remember what I wanted to share, and I was going to ask you. Oh, on the others, I know which one it was. Let me see if I can find it. This is like one of those things that I'm doing when oh man, yeah, this was going to take me a second, but yeah, these are some of those little behind the scene things that I'm doing when I'm doing the live, and it had to do with people's. Oh, okay. Wait. Let me see if I can find it. Oh, yes. This is it. Well, that was too easy. That was so easy that I almost don't believe it's what I'm looking for. But I hope this is it.
I'm not sure after the Queen pass away, it will be the same. Because I know that kingdom rise and kingdom fall.
Do you feel like very close to the royal family? Do you
No.
feel
I mean, I come from a Commonwealth country, so yes, she does represent us, and she's a very important figure, and I respect her.
I mean, the Queen, incredible, been here for 70 years, leading our country. I feel like we should celebrate it, and it's something to be celebrated. But I feel like sooner or later we won't be seeing many more of those, and I feel like the monarchy would soon be dying out.
Before we'd like, oh yeah, the Jubilee, we'll have a street party, but this year it feels like I really don't want to, because we're celebrating a family who can't do right within themselves. So whether that's the mistreatment of Harry and Meghan, or the way Archie hasn't been embraced because they won't give him a princedom, or the way they've turned a blind eye to Andrew's antics.
Well, as a person, the Queen, ma'am, I love her. How she hold things together. Through trials and tribulation, her husband died, our kids go through so much, and she still do her duty. I respect her.
I don't really think we should have the royal family, because they're really no different to what other people in our community do in compared to like charity work, and like it's just about status. They're just higher up, but they do the same as much, to be fair.
Okay, so what do you think about that?
Is that a question for me or?
Yes. Any of that? Do you want to elaborate on it, or anything, whatever comes to mind?
I mean, so I do believe that most people in Britain actually really love the Queen. I really believe that. Um, So I don't know, Baron, if you remember, there was a clip that went viral about an Australian lawmaker who is part of the indigenous people in Australia,
Yes, I saw that.
and she
Yes.
was supposed to, I guess, she was being sworn into office, and I didn't know this, and I found out on that day that people have to swear their allegiance to the Queen and her descendants. Oh my
Mm-hmm.
goodness! So everything is about the Queen, you know. You know, they believe that God Himself actually put her in power by divine right. I believe that's what they say. So they believe she's
Divine right of
actually
kings ordained by God. Yes.
absolutely. So a lot of people they grow up with the idea that the Queen is a messenger of God. So they love her because who wants to disappoint God? You know, they just do, and so they love her. They really love her. They really respect her. They think she can do no wrong. That's really the consensus that I get from reading and listening to what British people say.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, well, some people have referred to it as a cult as of late. I'm hearing more people compare that connection to the royal family and the queen as more of a cult. Now, there is a man named, I think his name is John Lowry. He's a little short guy that is at every royal event, and he's always at the prime position to meet and greet the royal family. He's seen the queen more times than you could shake a stick at. If you've seen him, I'm pretty sure you would say, "Oh yes, I recognize him. I met him when I was outside the wedding at Windsor." And there's like a whole group of them, and they eat, sleep, live, and I don't know how they function. I don't know what they do for work, but they eat, sleep, live, and breathe the royal family. And I said, "Oh, hi, you're the guy from television." I said, "You're the super fan." "No, I'm a royal supporter." He was very quick to correct me. "No, yes, I'm a royal supporter." And yeah, and that's he's like a celebrity in his own right, and he was there when Harry and Meghan went to the radio station, and he gave her whatever gift he gave her, and just because it has to do with the royal family, he loved the Duchess of Sussex. But once everything changed, I'd never heard him say anything bad about her. But when they interviewed him, and he has been interviewed quite a few times, well, they should have told the queen. They should have told the queen. They're supposed to tell the queen, you know. And I could see in his eyes that this guy was hurt. He was very hurt on behalf of the queen. I don't think that they have any moral conflicts with what happens in that family, if you know what I mean. They don't care. But that the family is there seems to give him all the comfort that he needs to get through one day to the next. And that looks very much like a cult to me. I'm not saying that it is, but that's the kind of stuff that I equate to being in a cult atmosphere. So they will forgive and overlook anything and everything so long as that family is in power and so long as you show the proper respect for the queen. That's how I've seen it.
And it very well may be a cult. I mean, people are literally brainwashed into believing that these people can do no wrong. Very, very dangerous indeed. And yeah, some of the things that people say is really wild for us, right? Because we come from different societies, we see things differently. But I know you've been to um, St. George's Chapel.
Yes.
Was that place like not a little weird to you?
Yeah, well, I've been to so many cathedrals and chapels and churches and tombs and stuff like that that sometimes it all runs together on me. But St. George's Chapel, you're not allowed to use those steps used on the wedding day or processions by the royal family. So you go in that side door and you do like a big loop around. And the atmosphere, well, it kind of feels like you're in one of those like mausoleums at the cemeteries. I mean, most of those older places like that has very much the mausoleum type of vibe. And every place you look, every place you step, there's the potential that someone is entombed there, right? And then from me
Hmm.
being such an Anglophile and studying the history, I knew exactly where Henry VIII was buried. They had to walk over his tombstone to get to the altar. Um, yeah, and some parts of it is very old, but I think that the crypts beneath is something that was created in the 19th century or something like that. And yeah, it is a very creepy place.
So, it's those people are just weird. That's
Yeah.
all I can say. And a lot of people in Britain, um, it, it's really weird because it seems like a lot of people follow the royals, like people, the way people are obsessed with the reality show.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like that gentleman, everything about him is the royals, but it puts people in like what's the word I'm looking for? But really, it just puts people to sleep. And so people don't focus on things that affect them because they are there to be entertained by the royals. They love the fighting among the family members. Like, oh, Charles said this about Andrew. Andrew leaked this about Camilla. Oh my God, what's going to happen on the next episode of The Windsors?
That is true, and I only ever looked at it as a soap opera. I didn't care enough about, and you know what? I have to say this too. There was a complete disconnection between the history of slavery and the modern day royals for a long time for me personally. I did not see a connection in their behavior today compared to the history that we are all aware of now. But when they started mistreating Meghan, the Duchess of Sussex, it did not take long for me to remember from whence I came. Okay. It did not take long. At the end of the day, as far as I'm concerned, y'all messing with a black woman, and I don't like it. That was just the way I felt about it. Whatever you say, whatever you think, fine. But I cannot sit idly by and have someone that is black being mistreated, electronically lynched for that matter, but being mistreated real time, present day. That was more than I could take. And so at that point, I was just like, yeah, I got to take another look at this family. It's not exactly what I thought. And I also made a disconnection between the wealth of old. They don't really mention that uh, much. Like in the United States, it is very obvious that the wealth of the country came from the slave trade because the slaves were here. But in Britain, you didn't have many, if any, slaves in the motherland, but you had the results of their blood and sweat everywhere with these fine country homes and with these, um, what do you call it, urban areas, these all the engineering and stuff. All of that was made possible from the wealth from the slave trade. Without that, where would they be? It's not enough farmland in all of Britain, and at that time there were no exports of food like that we have today to support an economy that big. If they weren't getting it from oil, they were getting it from people, and I think that there's a big disconnection, and deliberately so, that this is where the money comes from. So, and I'm just as guilty. I did not associate one with the other. I just didn't. I didn't know enough to associate one with the other. But
And
my eyes have been open.
it is by design. And just like I cannot remember her name, I'm so sorry. The lady who said they're like a snake, a slither,
Yes.
yeah. So by design, right? You see this lady, s- you don't think that her and her family, all they do is to live off uh, the spoils of slavery, right? Like they
Mm-hmm.
point the finger at the United States and they say, "Oh, these United States people, this is what they did." But oh, us, we ended the slave trade, and it's very interesting to me, Baron, that the first Duke of Sussex was very instrumental in actually ending the slave trade. Um, but anyway, they yeah, all the wealth when William is traveling on that helicopter, all the grand homes, that is all money that came from the exploitation of African people, of Indian people, but in particular African people. All the wealth that they have, the Windsors, it came from Africa. But they have done a marvelous job of hiding that.
Yeah, and then of course the reparations, not for the slaves but for the slave owners, which was only finally paid in full as of 2015. That blows my mind when you think about all these years, tens of how many decades is that since they abolished slavery? They're still paying all of that reparation to the ancestors of the slave owners, which was their way to convince them to stop the slave trade, was to buy them out. But there was no provisions forthwith for the actual slaves. You were cut free. And of course, after that, you have no choice but to either starve or become a sharecropper or to take the land that you can find, which of course is not as suitable for harvest as the land that is probably still owned by the slave owners. So you essentially would have to go right back, and it was the same in the United States. You essentially had to go right back to work with them, um, as a sharecropper because you didn't have any marketable skills. You weren't likely to have had any wealth accumulated, so you really didn't have a choice. So yeah, that amazed me when I found that out. And I'm just like, all these years of reparation, and they've only just repaid the debt to the slave owners. But if you bring up reparations in the Commonwealth, then all of a sudden everybody's like looking the other way and scratching their heads and such. So
All by
that
design.
was eye opening for me.
Yeah.
Now, have you been to the UK or do you live in the UK?
So Baron, I'm not really gonna, but I have been to the UK. I have a very long history with the UK. Very well
Okay.
did. Yes.
Yeah, because you know what? I'm very guarded with people's information. Like I could barely contact anybody through anything but Twitter, and I probably have some messages piled up in my Instagram. So I don't like to pry too much, but I just wanted to know that little bit about your experience with the island. But I'm really not that nosy. Trust me when I say that. I'm really not that nosy. So anything that you don't want to share, don't. That's perfectly fine with me.
Thank you. But I do have to run. It's been wonderful chatting with you, Baron, and the Sussex squad. Thank you for having me on to talk about, of course, and to promote Meghan and Harry. Thank you for all that you do. Thank you, everyone, for listening. As Meghan and Harry go back to the UK, let's promote their work. Let's ignore the slithering royal rota. Leave them alone.
You can have that one for free, by the way.
Oh, I
I
love it.
love
I'm
that
going to
one.
use
The
it. I
slithering, what did she
definitely.
say? Hissing, all of that. That is yours to keep. Okay, well, thank you so much for being here. And it was wonderful sharing. I have thoroughly enjoyed this afternoon with you. And it has been most enlightening. And on behalf of the squaddies who can actually post your thanks right now, and all that. But yes, so thank you. We'll have to do this again very soon. Anything that you wanted to say?
No more parting words besides support Meghan and Harry this week. Continue to pray for them. Thank you for all you do, Baron. Really appreciate you. I respect your work. I respect the work of all the Sussex podcasters on Twitter, the people who just cause a headache to the monarchy. Thank you for all you do.
Oh, that's wonderful. Thank you so much. And anyway, we will exchange something in the our way of talking. And if there's anything else you need, you know where to find me.
Thank you so much, Baron. Bye now.
You're welcome. Thank you. Okay, you guys, that was awesome, right? That was absolutely awesome. What a way to spend the afternoon. Not your typical Royal Sussex. So, um, I am just I'm just elated over this. I'm so happy that went so much better than I expected. Of course, I was having deep anxiety, hoping that everything would go well, and I think it was pretty good. So, all right. Oh, how long have we been? Oh my goodness, it's been 2 hours. What have I talked about for 2 hours? Now, of course, in the background here, I am like adding things and taking things away. And I wanted to share that picture of that super fan with you guys. That's the last thing I just looked for. And if you guys are interested in having other guests like that in the future, please let me know. That would be really cool. Let's see. Thank you for Miss Nazinga. That was amazing. Oh, thank you. Let's see here. Lynette Roberts says, Baron, although Britain is integrated with so many different people, we do have towns for specific races. Brixton is classed as a black town. Golden Green is for the Jewish. Southall is for the Indians. Do you know, Lynette Roberts, when I stayed in Brixton, I actually stayed at someone's house there on one of my visits. I I tell you, I felt so at home, right? And not really visiting the house so much as when I finally like walked around the neighborhood and everything. And so being an American, you know how we are about our space, right? It was so funny. It was like crowded at the McDonald's. I went there for breakfast and all of a sudden I heard, well, I seen and I heard somebody's tray slap down hard on the table. And then I saw this kid fly past me and hit the wall, and then another kid. And then finally, the mother sat down. She was holding the baby. She didn't ask me for permission to sit at my booth. She just sat down. I'm like, oh, this is so cool. I feel like so part of it. But and I was thinking to myself, even if I wanted to say something, am I allowed to? But yeah, it was so funny. So it's just amazing how here I am, like so outside of this community, this overfed American walking around looking for a McDonald's. And the next thing I know, I found myself just like anybody else in the community. So that really felt good. I felt so welcome. And then of course after I left, then I started reading more about Brixton and it was like, really? That was supposed to be a bad neighborhood? But of course, you read stuff like that, but when you go there, it's always so different. I didn't feel in any way out of place or uncomfortable, is the point that I'm making. Just like any place else that people say, oh, you shouldn't go there. I couldn't have been more at home. I mean, I just, I didn't feel uncomfortable walking around or anything like that. People were very nice, actually. So that was my experience in Brixton. So, Baron, notice how she mentioned how we will and can. Absolutely. I did notice that. And let's see if there's any evidence of that, Sean. Let's see if we have any unimpeachable evidence of Will and Kate losing half the Commonwealth. I bet you there is some.
Prince, Trenchtown wants $245 billion. That's what Trenchtown wants. $345 billion. Yes, thank you. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's what Trenchtown wants. Yes. What do you mean?
really? No sound? Oh, that's usually what I do when I run in the kitchen and get a cookie. That's what I do when I run in the kitchen and get a cookie. Yes, of course, the sound is back, Lucy, when I got my cookie. So I wonder how long it was off. Oh, wow, that's interesting. I think it's actually a stronger Royal Sussex when the sound is down. Just saying for a friend. I think that makes the Royal Sussex that much stronger when I turn the sound down. Hello, Angela R. Well, thank you all so much for your comments. It has been grand. Audrey Teschner has a super chat. Evening squad family and moderators have no sound. I do apologize for that. That was my fault. I ran in the kitchen to get a cookie. I needed like a little pick me up. Okay, so let me go to the list for today. Those of you who help to support Royal Sussex, I have the list. Thank you so much to Sherry Ware. Okay, where is my list today? Okay, so if you're not on this list, Sherry Ware said she started a little later than everybody else. But Audrey Teschner again, Irish Demonia, Elaine Parker, Educate2, Alma Zimmer, and Sean for 2 super chats, I believe. Thank you so much, everybody. I will see you all tomorrow. And let's keep hoping that tomorrow that Tina and Michelle will surprise us. It is a Sunday, so let's put that out in the universe. Miss VSN, I listened to you today, this morning when I was prepping. Always what I need to relax. Miranda Rios, thank you for being a member for 9 months. That is super cool. Thank you very much. Let's see what else we got. Big Mama. You know, Big Mama, I hope you don't mind. I'm going to edit that part where you introduced yourself live on Royal Sussex. I'm actually going to edit that and put it back out there in a very respectful way. So I hope you don't mind because everybody loves Big Mama. One of my friends told me, you have to have Big Mama on there again soon. I just love her. Whatever love. Okay, let's see. Baron, I see the haters and Pierce Morgan are asking for their titles again. I saw that. They're going back on the title thing again. Yeah. Well, you guys know that the Sussexes will be there next week, so they need to draw as much negativity as possible so that hopefully some people will come out and heckle and all that kind of stuff. There is a method to the madness. They aren't doing this for no reason at all. And very good, Big Mama. I'm going to work on that because you are definitely loved. Right, Sherry, of course. Whatever love means. Oh man. But yeah, so we'll definitely bonsai vos Jesus let's see, colonized white supremacists, extremists, Nazis, and what else is that? And they're racist. And of course, even if Charlotte doesn't say it, it is implied. We can't forget what is it, Charlotte? Imbecile. That's it. Imbecile. So yes, even though Charlotte doesn't always say it, she implies that someone is an imbecile. thank you, Charlotte. Mon Xiaoyi, Charlotte, bonsoir, um, arrivederci, bon voyage, all's well that ends well. And that's the way les cookies crumbles. Thank you so much. Maurice V, where have you been for a while? I haven't seen you on here. Let's see. We must drive William out of the monarchy with his incredible intellectual mediocrity. Absolutely. I bet you thought I wasn't going to be able to say that, didn't you? I ain't gonna lie to you. I did kind of panic a little bit in the middle, but I think that cookie kind of brought me back. Oh, and now you know what? Now I don't feel so good. These I usually try not to buy these, but I get those rich, delicious chocolate chip cookies, the kind where when you take them out the oven warm, that the chocolate morsels just string together and woo, they are delicious. That is what I had. It was so rich that I'm almost shaking now.
Do you think, Mrs. Parker?
It was awesome. So that's what I just had. Okay. Uh yes, so guys, please make sure you go and re-watch the or re-listen, if you will, the podcast Archetypes, both of them. Put them on, leave them in the background, do what you got to do, and let's try to get those numbers up. All right. Oh, and thank you guys for signing the Get Well card for Arnold Saunders. I hope Arnold is feeling better. You're quite welcome, Charlotte. But yeah, I hope Arnold is feeling better. Let's see. Oh, let's see here. Clara Zungu says, when Meghan and Harry got married, we had a party to watch it. So did many families in South Africa. Oh yeah, and we've been talking about that, of course. And please, thank you so much for reminding us about that because as much as they want people to try to forget, we are going to keep bringing our receipts. Robert Collins, oh, thank you so much for that. And thank you for being here on Royal Sussex today. Okay, who else here? Yeah, I didn't get a chance to look at many comments while our guest was on, so I kind of feel like I'm catching up. Let me see here. Hi, hello, Diane Hawkins. I watch Spotify on laptop. All good. Oh, I mean all night rather. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, all right, all right, all right. Very good. Um. Oh, and yesterday, what did I watch yesterday? I always get the name wrong, but let me see. I'm gonna have to go to my community tab so I make sure I get this right. Um, Duchess of Success mentioned it yesterday. And of course, I decided, oh, I better get in on this one. So I watched oh my goodness, what is it? Sussex Squad Family TV. Yes, I watched that yesterday and it was really, really good. So I'm going to link that particular episode because he asked all the right questions about the situation. So let me grab the link for that and I'm going to link it at the top of the chat. And yes, this is yet another Sussex friendly channel that we all need to support. So there's the link. And now let me peg it to the top of the the chat today. Okay, back to my channel, back to today. And oh, okay, there it is. Now I'm going to peg it. There you go. So it's at the top of the chat. You can go there. When we're done here, you can go there and you can watch that for yourself. But yes, it was very, very good. So, and he's a nice guy, so we have to support him, of course. All right. All right. So let me see. Gonna take one more glance here. Uh yes, absolutely, Lady Washington. Bright young man. And I'm so sorry that I haven't been keeping up with his channel, but as you guys know, I spend a lot of time on social media, more than I ever have in the past. So I'm sadly behind with Ivy, and I feel bad about that because you guys know how much I love Ivy. Hello, Ivy here. I mean, I literally walk around the house saying hello to absolutely no one because I love Ivy so much. Hello, Ivy here. Ivy out. I even answer my phone. Hello, Ivy here. That's how much I love Ivy. Um Oh, well, thank you, Diane Hawkins. I can peg with the best of them. Oh, although I don't know if the Queen would like that. But yes, I could peg with the best of them. Okay. Oh, very cool, Angela R. Thank you so much for that. See there? See how easy it is? Okay. Let me see. Happy Saturday, Baron and Squatties. Living in the Triangle. Lit. All right. Thank you so much, Lit. Thank you for being here. Okay. Please note we are in Africa and data is expensive and people cannot afford to be on for hours. Africa is all about Meghan and Harry. Duly noted. Thank you so much for telling us that. Yeah, I had to say I do take data for granted. Yeah, so that is something to consider. All right, let me see what else we got here. Lynette Roberts says, "Thank you for a fantastic podcast, Baron. You're a true inspiration. You rock. When it comes to our Prince Harry and Princess Meghan." Lynette Roberts, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. Okay, you guys, let's call it then. As per usual, let's give love to our faves because I probably need a meal. That little cookie was just a tease. So I'm going to need something a little more substantial. Why am I looking there? I'm looking in the wrong place. All right. Thank you to our faves, our queen of everything, which I thought that was so beautiful what Nzinga said about her. And also our queen of hearts, Princess Diana. And then with that, I will have your last word of the day, which goes something like, like this. Elaine Parker says, "Bye, everyone. Stay safe, my friends." Well, that is our last word of the day. Thank you so much, Elaine Parker. And thank you, Squatties. Oh, I just noticed that I got some problems. I didn't. Okay, never mind. It's not important. I'm just, I didn't notice that I had a private message and didn't even notice it there. Well, I'm still getting used to StreamYard. All right, you guys, thank you so much. Let's ginge avenge our way out of here, and I will see you all tomorrow. I love you guys, and please, no bad energy. Okay, so I was teasing you guys about Mo Shannon, but she really did call me and she say, "Can you tell me what this is?" And next thing I know, I heard something go, "You lied, didn't ya?" And I screamed. It was so funny. She said, "You're gonna have to warn me." I was like, "What?" She said, she said, "I didn't even see that coming." I said, "Oh, you talking about the reimagined Lion King theme song?" You lied, you know that you lied. You lied, you know that you lied. she she literally called me at about 11 o'clock at night. She said, "Can I ask you something? What is this? You lied, didn't ya?" Oh my God. That was so funny. She said that she almost choked on her beverage. She said she was like just about to take a sip and she was still like swallowing the first sip. And then all of a sudden she heard me screaming out that Lion King song. Oh my gosh, that was so funny. So yeah. Well, anyway, it was nice to know that she's in a laughing mood. As you know, she had lost her mother recently, and so she was very, very caught off guard by that, of course, because it was like a sudden thing. So she's been listening, but she hasn't been on, as you guys know. Did I really? I could just imagine the cat head spinning around. You lied, didn't ya? Oh man. Okay, you guys. All right, so we are good. Let me get out of here before I start singing again. I don't think we want that. I mean, having survived the pandemic, do we really need that right now? Okay. Huh. Whoa, really? Oh, Diane Hawkins. I was wondering, but yeah, by the time they are settled in, we'll hear about it like the next day or something. So who knows? Interesting though. Thanks for sharing that. Oh, let's see. I'm sorry. That's what I was looking for. Put it with the cartoon, huh? You lied, you know that you lied. From the day you arrived on this planet and money started changing hands, you said more than what actually happened that day, more than you ever planned. Uh, uh, Well, thank you guys for amusing me by, or should I say, humoring me and listening to me sing like that. I mean, it's no good without an audience, right? Okay, I gotta stop. My face is hurting because I've been smiling too much. Uh, all right, you guys, I'm going to go. But yes, please check out the family TV Sussex. Wait a minute, what is it again? Why do I keep wait. Don't tell me nobody. I got this. Sussex Squad. See, I always doubt that it's Squad, but it's Sussex Squad Family TV. Right? Right. All right, got it. Sussex Squad Family TV. Gotcha. Sussex Squad Family TV. There we go. Perfect. And I am going to put it right there so you can see it. Sussex Squad Family TV. Got it. Anyway, good show. Make sure you check it out. Love you guys. I'm going to end broadcast and I will see you all tomorrow. It has been fun. And thank you again if you're listening to our mystery guest. That was fantastic. And it just makes me want to go and learn some more stuff. Now I have increased my thirst for knowledge. So um, let's see. Um, Uncle Scar, will I like my surprise? Simba is to die for. You know, Jeremy Irons, the actor Jeremy Irons, did the voice of Uncle Scar. Uncle Scar, am I going to like my surprise? Simba is to die for. Oh. Let's see. Faith, Hope, Love says, Baron, a lot of us are still looking for a copy of The Cut with Meghan on it. Where can we buy a copy? From what I'm to understand, is sold out. Now, you can buy probably from eBay, but they're going to charge you a premium for it. But it is possible to find it on eBay and even possibly Amazon. So, those are places that you can look for because sometimes people will buy up something that's popular and they will sell it again. So that is a possibility. And that way you'll have it. But otherwise, they may have some offer with a subscription if they haven't done it already, but in the very near future, which is what Time Magazine did when they sold out of the Harry and Meghan copy. So, yeah, that is an option as you could check those places. All right, you guys, thank you. V. Thomas, thanks for the reminder. And indeed, please go to the community tab, and there is a Get Well card that you can sign for Arnold that was posted yesterday. And hopefully, Arnold, if you're listening, please go to the Royal Sussex Good community page, and there's a Get Well card there for you. So when you're able and up to it, there's a lot of messages and prayers and greetings for you there. All right. All right. So I am going to go. Oh, okay. I'm off to Amazon as I listen again. Oh, yeah. Cool. Yeah. Check it. Oh, none on Amazon? What? What? There's none on Amazon? Well, keep looking, you guys. Amazon, eBay, those are the only two places that I can think of. Arnold Saunders, he's like the old school, like the OG of Sussex Squad supporters, of Sussex Squaddies, Sussex Squad. And well, he's been there like from the very beginning. And anyway, he's in the chats quite often, but unfortunately, he had a stroke, and so he's recovering. And we are sending our prayers out. So that's the Arnold Saunders. Okay. Well, you guys are still kind of chatty, but I'm fixing to go. This is all very interesting, but you guys can't believe how nervous I was before today because I just wanted everything to go perfectly, and I was like up trying to, do some stuff. So I'm just gonna go and have a little lie down and then make some lunch. And oh yes, Diane Hawkins, I will work on that. I will work on that. You're so right. I need to put the merchandise back up. I've tried to change the colors of the merchandise, and somehow I ended up messing up the page. And I may go with a different company for the merchandise. I was using Spring before, but I may go with a different company because I found their website very confusing. So, and I'm so glad you brought that up, Diane. When it comes to the merchandise, excuse me, most of the price of the merchandise is actually going to the manufacturer and the shipping. Only a small portion of it goes to the content creator, which is no problem because you guys take very good care of me. So that's no problem. But having said that, I don't get to have any privilege to your information, your address, or anything like that. And of course, you know me, I don't want to know where you live. All of that is with a third party. They take care of everything. So I just need to submit a design, and then they make these bespoke pieces of merchandise, meaning, of course, they make them one piece at a time. Very cool the way they do that. And that's how the merchandise happens. So if you're on social media and someone has, like on the YouTube for sure, if they have merchandise, don't worry that they're going to get your information because you don't get a chance to see that. That's with the manufacturer. So I think it's very good because it helps to protect people's privacy. That's what I love about it. Okay. Sunshine says, I was there at the beginning with Arnold, Tina, most of your moderators, Michelle, etc. Best wishes, Arnold. Oh, that's very nice to know, Sunshine. I did not know that. Dina Cardoza, how are you? Oh, I'm so glad you're here. Let me see. Okay. Hello, Arlena Shallow. Okay, and who else is here? Okay, you guys. Barren nerves can be good. You are doing the damn thing. Oh, thank you, Bam Porter. Yeah. Well, I mean, as corny as it sounds, you guys are the constituents. I'm just a custodian. So this is really your channel. And I just want everything to go as smoothly as possible. Okay. Oh, I'm reading something here. Oh, okay. Huh. All right. Thank you for sharing that. All right, you guys. We got to call this at some point. Although I'm nosy as you know what, and I'm looking at everything y'all writing, just catching up. Are you still live? Not sure. I just clicked to find you still. What time? Yes, you guys, it's almost 3 hours. I'm fixing to go. Yes, I'm still here, and it's almost 3 hours. I'm fixing to go. So, I don't know what to tell y'all. But I'm fixing to go. Cookies and cream. Faith, hope, love. We're fixing to go now. Yeah, we fixing to go. I know this seems like a first date where they say, no, you hang up first. No, you hang up first. You know how it is when you're in love. It's that first date and y'all talking and you're like, no, you hang up first. No, you hang up first. I know this seems like a first date, but I promise you this is not a first date. So, excuse me. Oh, thank you, Sunshine. It was very, very much like a Tina and Michelle hour or 2, 3 hours. Very much so. I know it's like the good old days, right? Everybody's talking about the good old days, the good old days. The grass was greener, the sky was bluer, and smiles were bright. Can it be that it was all so simple then? If you all gonna stay, I'm gonna sing. Or has time rewritten every line? Oh man. Oh, thank you so much. Is it Kulil? Simeline? Thank you so much for the super sticker. And you're a member too. Thank you for being a member. And thank you so much for watching Royal Sussex. And you know what? If I had the chance to do it all again, tell me, would you? We would. Yeah, is it would we? Should we? Oh, you guys, stop making me laugh because my face is hurting. I promise. I've been smiling so much you would think I was running for governor. Sunshine, thank you for the super sticker and thank you for watching Royal Sussex. Happy Saturday to you. Okay. What is that? They're showing the princess. Yes, I watched that one. I think most of us with HBO watched that. Good thing I didn't cancel it. I was going to cancel that HBO, but when they said that was coming, I'm like, oh yeah, I got to watch that. Oh man. So you guys, let's think about some happy thoughts. Coming up next week, we're going to see the Sussexes out publicly again. And of course, everybody is going to want to see the Sussexes and what they're wearing, who they're talking to. Are they going to go to Balmoral? You know, that's going to be the big question. All of that stuff is going to happen next week. So, um, should be interesting. Should be interesting. I'm looking forward to it. Anytime I can see the Sussexes, that's a good thing. So, um, yeah, that is coming up. So I am excited. I'm like so pumped for September. Sonia Diana, thank you so much. I mean, can we catch an 8 hour? Okay, I think Tina and Michelle had a marathon one time. Now, you know me, I'm a bit of a talker. I could do it. I could do it now. Um, I will just say this much. Without any admission, I will have to say that I have worked where I talked for a long, long time. So I have like a black belt in conversation. And I was watching Petal one day when she said sometimes people would say, "Oh, have Petal go with you. She'll talk." Or anyway, she was talking about how some people just seem to, as the old people would say, would have that gift for gab. Well, guilty, very much guilty. And I am fun on a road trip. I'm fun on the road trip. All I got to say is, long as you're feeding me, I'm good. Let me stop by and get that half-pound bag of M&M with peanuts, and I will get you to Mississippi. Just let me line up my snacks on the seat next to me, and I will talk you from here to the Pacific Ocean. I will talk you all the way from here to the Pacific Ocean. Let's see. Dina Cardoza says a smile and a wave will bring back the Commonwealth. Won't it do it? Won't that do it? Just a little smile and a little wave. That's about all we can do. Yeah, we can't bring you any money, although we got plenty of it. I got an 8 million pound helicopter, but a little smile and a little wave, that's about all we can do. Of course, we could dance a little jig for you.
Prince, Trenchtown wants $245 billion. That's what Trenchtown wants. $345 billion. Yes, thank you. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's what Trenchtown wants. Yes. How you mean?
How you mean? How you mean? Oh boy. Let me see. Kathy K says, thanks, moderators. Thanks, Baron, for staying on a bit longer. Oh, you're quite welcome. You're quite welcome. We had so much fun today, and it was so informative, too. So always glad to help. Always. Let me see here. But yeah, well, let me... oh, okay. Yeah, that was from yesterday. All right, very good. Well, you guys know my new favorite obsession. You guys already know what it is, but I'll show it to you anyway. That lady right there in the middle, I absolutely adore her. I love that little dip that she does with her shoulders. Watch that again. I love that little dip that she does with her shoulders. That I love her. Watch that again. Oh, I'm sorry. Who's let me see. I've never seen these videos. Oh, well, I mean, since we're here, I don't mind playing it. I think most people have, but that's okay. I'll play it from the
Well, we are here to support, obviously, the royal family. Ancestral heritage is British, because from a South African perspective, it's a multicultural wedding. So we celebrate that, and I think it represents how the future is, and it's wonderful to see that in the royal family. Not that we're actually royalists, but as South Africans, we celebrate all cultures. So from that perspective, we'd like to embrace it and show our support.
Stunning, away from the crowds, an utterly exquisite dress.
And to celebrate their love. Marriage is the gift of God in creation.
I came out today because a black girl is getting married to royalty. So I felt that even though she's semi-black, it's something that we should support, because we're out here, black people are claiming themselves and proud of being black for the first time in so many years. So we're so excited to be a part of that, and we thought we'd support that. For me, the most amazing thing, she's beautiful, her husband is gorgeous, but seeing the pride in her mom's eyes and seeing a black mom in dreadlocks, of all things, sitting there amongst all these white-ass colonizers, excuse that, it was just beautiful to see. It really is something that's so stunning. It makes us so proud to be who we are, because we've never had the strength to take back being black, and now you're black and you're proud of it because your sister's sitting in royalty. Harry was everything and more. Her dress was gorgeous because her body is gorgeous. We expected something a little bit more sexy, a little bit more back, or you know, a little bit less like lace everywhere. But in any case, she's Meghan and she's beautiful, so obviously the dress worked for her. I think we all have a Prince Charming out there. Maybe not Harry, maybe he's around the road, but I think we need to all believe in our fairy tales, because today I feel like every little girl who's dreaming about it, me myself as not a so little girl, I want to get married and I want to be the center of attention for one day, and I think all girls deserve that.
That poor guy, who knows what he was talking about, but I tell you what, a good reporter always gets his story, and he was determined to get his story. Oh man. Well, like I say, I just love that little lady doing that shoulder dip. That is it's one of those things that just makes me happy every time I see it. So That was really, really sweet. Let me see here. Looking. Okay, cookies and creams. This video needs to go viral on all the social media platforms and trends, so it's picked up by credible journalists to report on it. You mean with the celebration and such? Okay. Yeah, guys, I get really frustrated because the thing is, the American networks, to whom we don't expect much because they really don't do much. But the American networks, they played into the she compared herself to Nelson Mandela. Instead of coming out vigorously to defend her, they were just as dependent upon those clicks and all the clickbait and all of the, bringing people back from commercial break and such. They all were depending on that. It is a lesson of frustration. It is futile at best to expect that they will ever be fair with the Duchess of Sussex. But I think I mentioned before that when the Queen transitions, and she will very soon, but when the Queen transitions, the American media is going to want to cover it. And so I believe that the royal family is using that as a bit of coercion, to put it mildly, that they're using that threat of being blocked from covering those events, to use the media to say what they want, to use them as basic talking pieces, and to help parrot all of those negative, snide messages and such. And it's just the same as with the Amy Robach thing, where she wanted to talk about, that thing with Andrew, but she was prevented from doing so under the threat that ABC would lose any access to William and Kate. Now, if they had to do it all over again, I'm pretty sure ABC would be like, well, we'll take our chances because they're as dull as dishwater. Well, who knew at the time that William and Kate were going to be absolutely dreadful? But when the Queen dies, it is going to be big. It is going to be huge. And everybody's going to be talking about it. And I believe that the American networks do not want to be shut out of it. And then following that, you are going to have something that we have not seen since the 1950s, and that is a coronation. So we've seen state funerals, but we haven't seen a coronation. And the American media do not want to be blocked from that. They're going to want in on that one. They're going to want access. And so those are two things that they can use to control the message. And so, unfortunately, it's something that for now we have to live with. But like everybody else in the squad, I intend to make sure that I right the wrong or correct the lies wherever possible. That's all we can do, is to just try to stay true to what we know is just. Let's see. Kathy A says, that's right, Baron. That's why I reported abuse on all the channels that negativity reported this. Yeah, negatively, I'm sorry, reported this. Exactly. That's all we can do, is just put the truth out there and hope that it is picked up upon by the right people. Oh, I'm sorry. That was for Diane Hawkins. Let me see. I don't like those people on ET. I don't either. And I tell you, sometimes when I dare watch those shows, as soon as I see the royal expert, I turn it off. I'm just like, oh, you know how sometimes you just forget that that's coming. And then when they're there, it's just like, oh, crap, you. Of course, you can substitute the word crap, But seriously, that's my response. Oh crap, you? Uh-huh. I just, it's you sometimes we forget or we hope or whatever, and the next thing you know, there's the so-called royal expert. So don't feel bad, you guys. That happens to all of us, where we get lured into a false sense of security, and next thing you know, there's Camilla Tominey all up in our face with her face, which is massive, by the way. So yeah, it happens to all of us. You listening to a royal report and you think that, oh, they're just going to show some pretty pictures of Harry and Meghan, and bam, there's that big long face all up in yourn. So don't feel bad. It happens to the best of us. Until American media wants to cover it matters, it doesn't matter, rather, the British royal family want our attention. US media should play hardball. I wish they would, Pam Porter. Gosh, I wish they would. Because that is the story. The story is how the Sussexes are misrepresented. And so far, there's not enough incentive to take up the Sussexes side of the story. Now, someday there will be some investigative report. Like, for instance, if 60 Minutes, and I mean US 60 Minutes, not Australia, because that's not the real 60 Minutes, but if the US 60 Minutes, among other people, really take up the story about how they lie, and but they just won't do it. They just won't do it. But that is the story. And maybe somebody, like, for instance, like, what is his name? Is it Michael Moore? If there was like a Michael Moore documentary that would expose this stuff. But let me warn you guys, even if, say, a good documentary come out, there were some amazing documentaries that said everything that you could want to hear, and that everything that you were frustrated about with Fox News. It was called Outfoxed, and it was about Fox News. And it didn't do anything to diminish the fortunes of Fox News. Yep, it didn't do anything to diminish the fortunes of Fox News. I mean, the truth is out there. And I watched this at the movie theater years ago. It didn't have an effect on Fox News. So, like our guest, oh gosh, oh, why am I having a problem saying it now? But anyway, Nazrina, as she was saying, Nazinga, that's it. As she was saying that these people tend to replicate and reproduce, and they just keep coming back. It's true. They reinvent themselves. They're a new version of the old monster, and there's always beast another beast that is waiting in the wings to take their place. So I intend to, you know, fight the struggle as long as I can. And I know that most people who are on the side of truth and right and good are going to do the same thing. But I'm definitely, because I hate a bully. I just hate a bully. So I don't feel the urge to look the other way. I just can't. I just can't. Now that I know what the truth is, I cannot look the other way. It would be like trying to, like they say, once you become a pickle, you can never be a cucumber again. That's it. Once you become a raisin, you can't be a grape again. And once you know the truth about that family, you cannot pretend otherwise. You can't look the other way. Let's see. Omid has proven that fair coverage can be monetized as well. He takes a lot of hate from the dark side, but continues to stand his ground. Good. Well, Diane Hawkins says true. Um, he's pretty much like an American style reporter. He's not making it personal. He just does his job. That's it. He just does his job. He didn't even have to take a side to just do his job. But unfortunately, in order to make a place for yourself as a journalist nowadays, even some American journalists have suddenly grown a personality and they want to choose a side, or they want to throw in their opinion right along with what is supposed to be legitimate reporting, and that actually ruins it. That actually ruins it. But it seems that people like hate and gossip and stuff. Not everybody, obviously, but some people, that is part of their existence, is to wake up in the morning and hate, go to lunch, hate, dinner time, hate, go to bed, more hate, fear, paranoia, and hate. That will lead to the decline of Western civilization. Pamela Melissa Davies says, I'm surprised that I'm sorry, let me try that again. I'm surprised that Don Lemon, of all people to jump on the critical wagon to falsely accuse our Duchess, talk about throwing your own under the bus. Shocking. Um, Don Lemon is, I don't watch him. I'll just say that and leave it alone. I don't watch him. I can't watch him. I don't watch him. I have not been on board with him for some time. I think he got some rather, crappy, substitute the word, crappy ways that have always been a turn off for me. And it's not related to how he feels about other people, but just watching him work and watching his character. He turned me off. He was just a big turn off. That's all I'll say about him. Um, it was just like I had a feeling about him. Lydia says no comment on Omid, better than the rest, but still a side eye. Don Lemon is shady. Oh, I understood that emoji. Yeah, yeah. And with what Lydia just said, I'd rather take a fair reporter who's not constantly interjecting their um, sycophant ways for the royal family than otherwise. So, and that's fine. And as the Duchess of Sussex would say, as long as it's fair. At least I thought it would be fair, and that's the whole point. Just make it fair. Make the fight fair. Don't you know pile up on one person, especially when it comes to people of color. It's not easy for us to transcend or to transition into other groups as well as some people can, and so we take our history with us every place we go. We don't have um, the what is it, the what's the word I'm looking for? Anyway, we can't hide in plain sight like that. Not that we want to hide, but you understand what I'm saying. um we're not able to do that. Other minorities, ethnicities, it's easier for them to do that, but for us, we are judged as soon as we show up. As soon as they hear that there's any relations to the blood of a slave or the blood or of an African or anything for that matter, instantly we have they've made up their mind about us, and they're that idea that they are exceptional, and that somehow, no matter how much education, how much wealth, prosperity that we might enjoy, that we somehow are supposed to be inferior. Oh, right. Oh, and one more thing too. um, as I was listening to the Duchess of Success yesterday, she did mention the thing I had said about uh, black billionaires in the UK. except for one part that she missed, and not only she has missed that, but quite a few other people have kind of missed that one little part. A native born black or person of African descent in the UK that is a billionaire, I could not find one. That is what I said the first time, the second time, and this time, is that I could not find one. And in the United States, we do have them. We do have black billionaires, and not all of them are rappers. Actually, I don't think any of them are rappers except for Dr. Dre. Not all of them are even musicians or in the music industry or sports. There are some who have climbed that ladder, and if they're not billionaires, actually they're probably got $1 billion in asset on paper. But there are some people who have, like the guy who owned BET, and he sold it. He's a billionaire, and he's just one. But I believe that there's only a handful, but there are black billionaires in the United States. But you're not going to find that equivalent in the United Kingdom. You can barely find anybody who wasn't born into wealth that's a billionaire in the United Kingdom, what used to be the fifth wealthiest country in the world, and you cannot find that. So um, that is a constant. And if you guys can find that person, let me know. And then there was someone who said, well, there's a guy associated with Gatwick Airport, and he's a billionaire, but he wasn't born in the UK. His money did not come from the UK. You cannot find that. Yes, of course, Jay-Z is a billionaire. Oh, yeah, that's right. You know why I always forget that? Because I remember in that one report that Jay-Z at the time had $700 million. But you're right, he is a billionaire now. So that's two rappers, Dr. Dre and Jay-Z. And then when it comes to athletes, Michael Jordan invested, and mind you, he did make a lot of money as a player, but he had some very shrewd investments that made him a billionaire. Like when he owned part of the Wizards basketball team, Michael Jordan. And I'm going to tell you something too. The way we found out that Michael Jordan was a billionaire was because when that one guy was kicked out of the the NBA for using those racist tropes, he was forced to sell his interest in the what is it, the what basketball team was that, the Nets or whatever team it was. He was forced to sell his interest in that team, and because he was forced to sell his interest, the journalists, the sports writers, they said, well, if that team is worth that much, then Michael Jordan is a billionaire. Michael Jordan never told anybody he was a billionaire. Did you guys know that? He never publicly said, oh, by the way, I'm a billionaire. That's why I say I know there are more black billionaires, and we don't know that they are billionaires. Some people have a conspicuous amount of money that you can count, and then some people can't. So there are other black billionaires that we are not aware of, but trust me, they got that cheddar, and you don't know they got that cheddar. So yes, Lydia, he does. He keeps his business close to himself. He's not out there being conspicuous with it. And when you do the math, just like years ago when Tyler Perry, before he became a billionaire, I was sitting down with a calculator one day, and I said, if he makes this off of this and he makes that off of that, and how much does it cost to fill up the Airy Crown Theater, and how much does it cost to, and he's probably doesn't have much overhead. And I think at the time I said he's got to have at least $200 million. And that was years ago. So it's not hard to figure those things out. Oh, was it the Warriors? Yeah, it's not hard to figure those things out. You don't really need that confirmation from people to find out who's got $1 billion. And you know who else is going to be a billionaire soon? Um, that, of course, is Serena Williams. Serena Williams has made some very shrewd investments. And the thing that has changed a lot too, that is so different, and I don't know if this is even possible in other countries, but in the United States, people have caught on to two things: stock options and production rights. Stock options, of course, is the reason why um, Oprah Winfrey is so wealthy, and production rights is the other. When you have your own production money, you make way more money than being in front of that camera. And if you can be in front of the camera and have the production rights, that's even better. So the way that Merv Griffith became a billionaire was production rights. Oprah Winfrey took those stock options from CBS, Viacom, and what's the other one? Viacom, CBS, and whatever other production company that is, and distribution company. And so they do get their pay, but you make the big money from those stock options. That is where the money is. So when people are wondering, well, if they got this from what is it, Spotify, if they got that from Netflix, well, don't forget, Meghan has been around the business. Harry is not a dum dum. They have some really good legal representation. Obviously, whatever they venture into, trust me, they're going to take out those stock options, and their wealth, their stuff will rise and fall with everybody else who owns a chunk of it. So I'm just guessing. I don't know that to be for certain, but yes, Diane Hawkins, they will be billionaires in their lifetime. They are on track. They are definitely on track. And once you're in the know, once you meet the right people, once you make the right investments, and what's so brilliant about the Sussexes is what is that investing company that they got into? The one that does sustainable this and renewable that. That was brilliant because that's the future. As we can see right now, there is fuel crises, there is resource crises going on, especially with water and such. That is where you want to invest your money. That is where you want to invest your money. So being in front of the camera is one thing, but being in those rooms, being in the production and stuff like that, that is where you will find your fortune. But not only that, let's be very clear about this, because the Sussexes are so moral and so forthright, you better believe that when they are in those areas of production, that also gives you a voice to determine how much is wasted, how much resource is used, how this will affect people's lives. When you are own part of that business, you have more leverage to say where your money goes, where your resources go, who is going to be affected. So it is better off for people. Like, I would rather have a Sussex than a Musk own certain things, because Musk doesn't seem to be as involved with the environment. And I'm not saying that he's not at all, but he doesn't seem to be involved with the environment. And I also have heard stories about his employees. But I would trust that the Sussexes would know exactly the best ways to invest. And by them even saying that they are investing in those companies, it brings more interest to it. So yes, they are going to be billionaires. And if I have anything that I could do to help, if I can buy a certain brand of this or support that, Like, for instance, I have the most expensive version of Netflix that I have never watched because I'm supporting the Sussexes. I don't even watch the darn thing. You know who watches my Netflix? Everybody else. But I keep it because you're supposed to invest your money or spend your money in places that you feel good about. So, since they are supporting the Sussexes, I don't care who drops Netflix, I'm going to keep it. So, that is me putting my money where my mouth is. I'm going to support the Sussexes. Um, and the other thing about that kind of stuff is that, uh, as you guys know, Warren Buffett, he is leaving his fortune to charity. He does not intend to enrich his family. He's not leaving anything to his grandkids. He gave them a good education, and he gave them whatever he gave them now or has given them now, but he does not intend to make them the wealthiest, trust fund babies in the world. Warren Buffett is leaving his money to the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. And why is he doing that? Because Warren Buffett knows that when you put something in your name, that a lot of resources go to do the identical work that another foundation is doing. And that's why the royal family wastes a lot of money with these different trusts and this and that. I do believe that Prince Charles has been wanting to bring William into the Prince's Trust. And eventually, I don't know, maybe William will inherit that. But by having this trust and this agency and that agency, you are paying people to administrate money to do the exact same thing that another charity is doing the exact same work or foundation. And so Warren Buffett very wisely decided to invest, well, not invest, but to commit his money since Bill and Melinda Gates don't need his money, since Bill and Melinda Gates are like minded people, whatever you think about them. And I know they divorced and things have gone different directions. But at the time, Warren Buffett said, why should I set up a whole nother foundation in my name if they're doing the work? He said, I don't need to put my name on that. And that very much reminds me of the Sussexes. I don't need to put my name on that. I would rather help you help yourself than for you to go around perpetuating things in my name. And that's what I love about them is that it's not just so that we can throw our name on it. It's not so that you call me by my title. You don't have to leave a placard saying that I was here or I, am the patron of that. None of that stuff is necessary. That's up to you. I'm going to help you raise the money. I'm going to give you some money. You don't get that from the rest of the royal family. That is not part of their vernacular. That is not part of their motive operandi. You know what I'm saying? They don't work like that. That is why I am such a strong supporter of the Sussexes because I like the way they think. I love the way they act. They are not just there for the self aggrandizement and all that kind of stuff. They're actually, as the Duchess would say, on the ground and doing the work. I just want to get on the ground and do the work. Anxious to get married, get that over with, and let's go to work. And for that, they decided to drive our Duchess out of Narnia because she was anxious to get to work. That very American work mentality. I just want to get to work. And that is what they found so offensive. One of many things, I'm sure, is just because all she wanted to do was get to work. She saw that there's so much good I can do with this new platform or different platform. Not that she didn't have a platform, but okay, if I'm going to have this platform, I have to make it work for people, not for the queen, but for the people. And that upset a lot of people, is that she was exposing the fact that there's a whole nother way that not only you could do this work, but you should do this work. And that frightened them. That caused them to crap their pants, and they drove her out of Narnia, and she took Harry with him. I think that's pretty much the way the story goes. But if I got any part of that wrong, please let me know. Really? Okay, that's interesting. Okay, well, I'm gonna be looking for some photos later, that's for sure. Okay, you guys, you were you all wanted me to stay for a little bit longer. So let's see, that's been 3.5 hours. Only what, 4.5 hours to go. I'm just kidding. I ain't staying on here for 8 hours. But I just want you guys to know that if that were called for, I could do it. I don't want y'all to think I'm some kind of punk. If that was called upon, I could do it. Whether you all could take 8 hours, I'm not sure, but I certainly could. I don't I don't know if you all have it in you, but I'm as tough as they come. Oh well, let me see. Hey, I'm singing for my supper. That's what I'm doing. I am singing for my supper. Boy, I tell you, when people go back and watch this later and they see 3.5 hours, what in the world are they gonna think? Oh, I'm looking at some video. Oh no, this ain't it. This ain't it. Somebody okay, I'm not even gonna tell you what it is, but that was supposed to be like the what you call it, the Sussex is arriving, but it was actually a clip from a television show. But yeah, I'm like scrolling through the Twitter just to see what I've been missing for the last few hours. And anyway, I'll get caught up later. Oh yeah, it Diane, it's a video, and I would have a lot of trouble trying to share it. So I would love to, but it would be difficult for me. Okay. Ah, what is that one? Huh. Okay, interesting. A few people ordered these t-shirts. They look so good, I had to get one for myself. Can't wait to rock it. Oh, somebody has a I Love Meghan t-shirt. It's made like the I Love New York. And thank you, Mariah Carey, for reinforcing the name Diva. That was very cool. Okay. All right, you guys, we're good. Thank you so much for joining us on Royal Sussex. And and I will see you all tomorrow. That's right. I still got a podcast to do tomorrow. Thank you. Pamela Melissa Davies, thank you. Yes, Diva is a good thing. Okay. All right, you guys. I'm out of here. Somehow it's still almost 600 of you. But and then there will be one because I'm fixing to go. Oh, what's for lunch? I don't know yet. I don't know. Now I think it's going to turn into dinner, but I don't know. I got to go in there and try to find something. I wish I had some salmon, but no, and I don't I don't want any restaurant food today, so I don't know. I'll think of something. Yeah, and yeah, I'll think of something. But okay, you guys, thank you so much, and I will see you all tomorrow. And love you. Okay, so I'm gonna hit that end broadcast this time for real. Seeing that y'all have managed to squeeze another half hour out of this day, but I enjoyed it thoroughly. And what could I say? You guys complete me. You had me at Royal Sussex. Okay, love you. Bye bye, guys.